small and rich.
You got them. Come, Megan.
What's that?
You got them food.
Good evening and thank you. Welcome to the August 28, 2024 meeting of the City Council of Citrus Heights. If you could please rise and join me in the flag salute, and I would like our good friend Barry Broom to lead us in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item, please.
Next item is roll call. Councilmember Lopez Taff. Here. Councilmember Middleton is absent. Councilmember Schaefer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Karpinski Costa.
Present.
And Mayor Daniels.
Here. Next item, please.
This meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and live streamed at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays on Monday, September 2nd at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at the city's YouTube channel.
Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Next item is approval of agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Schaefer and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Taff. Any comments or questions on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is presentations. Number 4, proclamation of the City of Citrus Heights recognizing Mayor Brett Daniels for his service to the City of Citrus Heights.
Okay. So, am I going to do my own? Oh, you have something.
I have
Ah,
something.
he snuck something in. That's right.
And I'm just pleased as punch to be able to do this. So, this is a proclamation honoring Brett Daniels for his service to the city of Citrus Heights. Whereas Brett Daniels has served over 14 years as a member of the Citrus Heights City Council, he was elected to the City Council in November 2016 and re-elected in 2020, and previously elected to the City Council in 1999 and re-elected in 2002. And whereas Brett Daniels served admirably and honorably as Vice Mayor of Citrus Heights in 2004 and 2023, and as Mayor in 2005 and 2024, whereas in January 2024, Brett Daniels began hosting Mondays with the Mayor for residents to come to City Hall as an opportunity for voices in the community to be heard. Whereas Brett Daniels worked assiduously to promote quality of life for residents by his support of fiscally responsible leadership, safe and secure neighborhoods, and economic growth to benefit Citrus Heights and the surrounding regions. And this is long. And whereas during his tenure, Brett Daniels worked passionately with the City Council to approve projects enhancing the quality of life for the citizens of Citrus Heights. Major projects include the development of the Sunrise Tomorrow Specific Plan, the development of the Mitchell Farms Project, approval of the Auburn Boulevard Complete Streets Revitalization Project Phase 2, development of the Arcade Cripple Creek Trail Project, development of the Old Auburn Multi-Use Trail Project, creation of the Rental Housing Inspection Unit, development of the Sunrise Point Multifamily Affordable Housing Project, creation of the annual Citrus Heights Stars and Stripes event, approval of the Citrus Heights Beautification Crew Program and Citrus Heights Cares campaign, and approval of the 3-year pavement preservation plan. Brett Daniels diligently represented the city on various boards and commissions over the years, such as the Sacramento Transportation Authority, Sacramento Regional Transit, Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District, and the Sunrise Marketplace. And whereas, in addition to his city council service, Brett Daniels is a veteran of the United States Air Force and admirably served the community as a founding member and president of Toys for the Troops Kids, a nonprofit charitable organization that collects toys during Christmas for the kids of military families. And whereas Brett Daniels has been a productive and exemplary member of the Citrus Heights community and an outstanding government leader. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights does hereby commend in the highest regard the Honorable Brett Daniels for his distinguished and devoted service to the City of Citrus Heights and its citizens.
Well, thank you. Stop. Thank you.
So what, wait.
Oh.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to have some council comments. Then I'm going to have some public comments, if anybody would like to public, and then you get to talk.
Nobody
sound
told me
good?
this.
Does that sound good?
Sure.
And then we can do photos.
Oh, good.
Okay, so council comments first. I'll start with Councilmember Lopez Taft.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. You know, Brett and I have only known each other since before I started running for this position. And Brett, you are the most real elected official that I've ever met. I love that you are very transparent. You're a human being who remembers who he serves and why he serves them. And I've always appreciated your advice because it's very candid and exactly what I needed to hear when I heard it. So thank you so much for your service, and thank you for your friendship.
Thank you very much.
I know you're going to cry.
No, I'm not.
Mayor Daniels, I can't begin to express my gratitude for your leadership when I first came onto the council. It was a very difficult time, and you really showed a lot of just leadership qualities and transparency and a real understanding of what the community is looking for here. And all I can say is thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Well,
All right, we're going to move on now.
No. Listen, I was going to say goodbye, good luck, good riddance, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, so Brett was elected, it says here, in 2002. Well, when he got elected in 2002, I was his planning commissioner. So I've known Brett at least that long. So it hasn't always been positive. But I will tell you, from my point of view, he is probably the best council member we've ever had. He's the smartest. He reads his stuff. He understands it. When he goes to these commissions, he stands up for Citrus Heights. He is not afraid to speak on behalf of our city for what's right for our city. He's predictable. You know how he feels. He's not going to waver from his principles. And so I have always appreciated the honesty that he has, and I just have enjoyed serving with him. So I would marry him, but as a colleague, he's incredibly going to be missed. So I will miss you. I will miss you a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so does anybody from the public wish to come and share? You wouldn't believe me if I told you everything nice. You'd all sit there and go, yeah, right. So, you know, everybody we know has good and bad qualities. So everybody.
And I believe we did have one member of the public.
John
would like-
Kane, did you want to speak?
Thank you for getting dressed up, John. I appreciate it. You look good.
So anybody that knows you knows that you hate conflict. And it's really basically unknown to you in your life.
Sure.
And I counted, there's over 34 people here, and probably all 34 of them know you in different ways, at different levels, right? A lot of us have friends, a lot of us have acquaintances, we have people we know. But I counted a unique privilege to have worked with the mayor for 2 months. We spent Monday through Friday, over 24 hours a week together. So I think when you're riding in a car with somebody and there's emergency bathroom needs,
I'm there for you.
and there's hunger pains, you learn and you get to know somebody at a different level. Okay, when they tell you, I'm going to pick you up at 10 o'clock and you're 1 minute late, and they're on the phone with your boss, which is what Brett did almost every time I was late, or he was late. So I just want to say it was a privilege. I'm going to miss you, as I said in that card that I gave you, and your family. Knowing you and knowing that side that probably a lot of people here may not have experienced, which is a commitment to this city and the vision of this city. And I don't know how that played out in the early meetings here, in all the different things and all the different meetings and, coffee with the chief of police. I don't know how all those things worked out, but I know at my level, sitting in a car 24 hours a week for 2 months, there is no question in my mind that this city is going to miss your commitment to its roots and its growth. So I want to thank you for the privilege of having become not necessarily a friend that we get together all the time, but a friend at a level that I'm very grateful for. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Alfred, did you have something you want to say? You have to forgive
I
me.
didn't know we
because
were doing this, but,
I can't see that distance.
pardon me?
I can't see you, so I know you're there.
You can't see me?
No,
But if I wave?
I see the shirt.
Well, I didn't know we were doing this, but Brett, I remember a long time ago, back in the day, you asked me to sign your nomination paper, and I said, why? And you said you wanted regular people from the community, not just politicians or people like that. So I always felt like we had this connection, like I signed your nomination paper. But I want to thank you for having an open dialogue. I always felt that even when we didn't see eye to eye, that you always took my text messages or answered my emails. And for that, I'll never forget that. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And farewell, my friend. Good luck out there.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred.
Anyone else wish to speak? Oh, I see an arm up over there. I see a hand.
The doctor.
Who are you?
Thank you. I'll take advantage of the roaming mic. My name is Alberto Ayala. I'm the Executive Director of the Sacramento Metro Equality Management District.
Oh.
And I just wanted to say a few words. The mayor spent a few years with us as a part of our board of directors. And I just want to acknowledge that time. I just want to acknowledge the fact that you were always present and ready to engage. You were not an easy board member. You were pretty tough on us. And to the earlier point, you did speak up for Citrus Heights. And I just want to be here to acknowledge on behalf of the agency your participation, your engagement, what you have done for us, and wish you best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak? Well, then we'll do some pictures. Oh, no, you get to speak, then we'll do pictures.
Vice Mayor, if I could say a couple of words on
Oh.
behalf of our team.
Oh,
All right.
Mr. Petey, sure.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Well, Mr. Mayor, it's been a real privilege and honor to be able the opportunity to serve as your city manager here while you've served on council. I can tell you from my perspective and that of our staff, we definitely appreciate the support you've provided. There's a lot to be proud of in that proclamation that was read. A lot of things that this council that you've served with have been part of. And would definitely appreciate your commitment to the quality of life improvements that have happened here in the city. You're somebody that cares deeply about community pride, community engagement, and just continuing to try to improve the city for residents and businesses. And I think it's very admirable quality, and just appreciate the opportunity to have been able to work on that with you. And I know I speak on our behalf of our staff too for all the great support you've provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Ash, very much. Now.
Now it's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to thank a few people. Hopefully I'll get through it. We'll start with Alfred. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being your advocate, the advocate that you are. Thank you for coming to me. Thank you for engaging me and teaching me things. Thank you so much, Alfred. Mary Poole. I got to see Mary a little earlier. There she is back there hiding. Mary's the OG, not the old gal. She's been here forever and has served in many ways. And I have absolutely loved having Mary Poole in this city. We are a great city because of Mary. Thank you, Mary. Okay. Oh, there we go. That was supposed to be off. There are lots of people to thank. Allison, Nicole, Casey, Susan. Thank you guys for keeping the city moving in the right direction and the departments that you're in. And you play big roles in keeping Citrus Heights on track and making sure that we're a success in many different areas. And thank you very much. You've left your fingerprints on Citrus Heights the time you've been here, definitely. Rachel, where'd she go? There she is back there. Rachel kind of is, I don't know about behind the scenes if it's the right term, but Rachel keeps me in line and does so much for us and is so incredibly nice and always smiling. I don't know if Rachel has ever had a bad day, but she never seems to have had a bad day, and I want to thank you very much for that, definitely. Amy, oh my goodness, Amy. So Amy has been kind of like my mom, and you know, you have to do certain things when you're on the city council and running in elections and stuff like that. And you got these papers and those papers, and man, I'm bad about it. I'm bad. I'm bad. But she has always been so incredibly professional and nice to me when she could have been, you know, very nasty with me. So directly with me, she's just been incredible. But she's also been very incredible in making sure that a very difficult area of the city that people don't really get to see so much as a city clerk, and what has to happen for those things. And so just want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Amy. Ryan is an incredible city attorney. And the reason he's so incredible is because he doesn't tell us what to do. He tells us what here's your options and here's your and I don't know if you've ever been wrong. I can't remember a time when you've been wrong, so that's a good thing. And so what you're doing for the city has kept us on the right track, and that's, one of the ways you know that is you don't hear about Citrus Heights in the news. We're not in the news. We're not getting sued. We're not getting, not silly stuff's not going on, and a lot of that has to do with Ryan and what he does as the city attorney. So thank you so much, Ryan, very, very much. I want to thank the Chief Turcotte. People, you're in a city and you put out a product, and in a lot of cities, it doesn't quite go right all the time, and the citizens, are resentful towards the police and stuff like that. A lot of that comes from leadership, and you don't have that in Citrus Heights. You have a city that embraces our police department, because we have an incredible police department, but that starts at the top. And the chief, no doubt in my mind and heart that the chief is the best chief we've ever had. And I hope you stick around for a while, don't take off too soon, and just keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing great things, Chief. Thank you so much. Ash. Ash is the reason that Citrus Heights is the success it is today. I won't rehash old wounds and stuff like that, but I think we were headed in the wrong direction for a while. And Ash came along and has put us in the right direction. And because of that, we're a city that is thriving. We're a city that has a surplus. We're a city that's doing things the right way, and we're a city that doesn't waste our money and stuff like that. And people, when I tell them where we are financially, they're just shocked. They're shocked. And so there is no doubt in my mind and heart that that's because of Ash. So thank you, sir, very, very much for what you've done. Megan, where are you? There you are. Wow, Megan. Every city needs a cheerleader. And if you don't have a cheerleader, you know, you're not in the game. And so you're more than a cheerleader, but thank you so much for what you do for the city, the encouragement that you give everybody. Again, I don't know if you've ever had a bad day, you know, if you have, you hide it real well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Regina, oh, wow. You're just a superstar. You're just a superstar. The things you do, the things you know, the things that you express without hesitation, I mean, they just blow me away. They just blow me away. And so I always love it when I'm having a community type meeting and Regina's there. Because I know I'm not going to remember something right, but Regina's always going to have it right. So thank you, Regina. Thank you for what you're doing for Citrus Heights. These city council members up here, oh my Lord. This is my 14th year. It is easily my most enjoyable year, and it's because of this council. We have the absolute best council in the Sacramento region and maybe beyond. If you ever really want to bore yourself with life, watch some other council meetings. Mary Jane, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're so thoughtful and analytical about things, and by that I mean it shows your heart is incredible. Your heart's incredible in what you do and what you take on for the city, and it's greatly appreciated. Tim, I don't even want to look at him.
Cry.
We are really lucky to have Tim. Tim is, I know he doesn't look that much older than me, but he's like a dad to me. And we're so lucky to have you, incredibly lucky to have you. He does not hesitate to question things. He's not a head nod. Nobody up here is. But thank you, Tim. Thank you for taking on the challenge of running for council and all of that and how you've served. Dr. Jana and I love each other. And we have had an incredible relationship for
Many years.
for a long time. But I will tell you this, I would not be sitting here today without Dr. Jana.
Oh.
It wouldn't have happened.
I'm an enabler. I'm an enabler.
She's an enabler. So you can blame her. So I just want to say thank you, Jana. Thank you, because I would not be here today
Well, you deserve it.
without you. And I want to thank my family. My daughter, Stephanie, who moved outside of the city about 2 blocks, I think, or 3 blocks maybe.
Oh.
And had she not had to do that a couple of years ago, I think she would have been on the city council today. I think she would have made a great city council member. And I'm so incredibly proud of my princesses. My son Chris, who's in the audience today, Pastor Chris Daniels, wow. I couldn't be more proud of you, son. The path that you chose in life. I just couldn't be more proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. My other son, United States Marine Corps Sergeant Brock Daniels. Can you stand up, Brock? Okay, you can sit down. Yeah, go ahead. Just finishing up 5 years in the Marine Corps, back to Sacramento now, and unfortunately I'm leaving, but I'll be back. But I've missed you over the last 5 years. Very grateful that you're back, and grateful for your service, son. Thank you. And then my little angel, my little Savannah. She's our miracle child, and I just don't know where this kid's going to go in life, but it's going to be something pretty amazing, I think. And so thank you, Savannah. And then, of course, my smoking hot wife, Nicole. Thank you for putting up with it all. It's not easy. It's not easy being the partner to somebody who's on a city council or anywhere probably, because a lot of things come into conflict with that in your family life. And so thank you for putting up with that. And then if I missed you, I apologize. I've really tried. But there's a lot of people from the neighborhood associations here tonight, I see. Thank you for what you guys do. It's really important. It's great important. And then the last thing I want to say is thank you to the citizens of Citrus Heights for trusting me. You're the one that decided whether I'm here or not. And through 4 elections, you've decided I'm here. And I'm incredibly grateful and honored to have served you. That's it. That's enough.
We can do some photos. If you want to have a photo with your sons,
I could do
first,
that.
why don't we do? Other his kids with him. Get your boys up here,
You want them down there, Jana? Or-
wherever you want.
Yeah, down there's fine.
Fix this so they get a nice picture.
Are there any residents that would like to come up and have a photo taken with Brett, and we'll mail it to him when he gets to Kentucky? Alfred, you want a picture? Come on.
Sure, why not?
John, you want a picture?
I got plenty.
That shirt's gonna,
No,
that,
what about you?
that shirt's gonna really, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone else want a picture with Brett? Come on in.
Yeah.
Is this my iced tea or yours? Thank you. Okay, you're back at your.
Ready? Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 5, presentation by Councilmember Schaefer on the Sacramento Area Council of Governments Denver trip.
Mike.
Thanks, Mayor. So back in June 26th, 27th, and 28th, we actually departed Sacramento on June 26th with an intention of arriving, that was about 10 o'clock in the morning, arriving into Denver at 5:41 p.m. And we departed Sacramento, we got into the air, and the pilot says, well, folks, they're having thunderstorms in Denver. We're going to go ahead and circle until we get clearance to land. Well, it was about 3 hours later when he finally decided, well, we're out of fuel. So we got to divert to Colorado Springs. So we diverted to Colorado Springs, and there were a bunch of other aircraft there. And so the fuel truck was going from airplane to airplane, filling up all the airplanes that were diverted from, and then we departed, it's only a half an hour from Colorado Springs down to Denver. So we got to Denver about 11 p.m. So it was a very tiring evening, and then the next morning we met with, so we are SACOG, which is Sacramento Area Council of Governments, and they are Denver Regional Area Council of Governments. So they're Dr. Cog there. They did we talked about a lot of things. We talked about a lot of, I was considering not going. And it was the mayor and the city manager that encouraged me to go because, and this is really the motivation, I wanted to see this Belmar Mall that I had heard about. And it was very much worth the trip. So Belmar was a mall. Let's see if I can get this to go right here. That's going backwards. Hold on. Maybe we're going too fast.
Would you like me to advance the slides?
Yeah, would you advance the slide, please? There we go. Just keep going. The next one. There we go. So the Belmar Mall is a mixed use, currently mixed use. It was just a traditional mall before, and they had office and retail, they had residential units, residential over retail. So it was truly a mixed use senior housing. Can you advance the next slide, please? So what's cool about this whole thing is it was a kind of a standard mall, just with the Sears and with all the kind of same kind of things we have at Sunrise Mall. When they rebuilt the mall, they attracted a lot of upscale new businesses. You can see that one of these, it has Nordstrom's Rack there. We've never had a Nordstrom's Rack here in Sacramento. But that's something that a new mall could attract. This is the hotel that's on the mall property. It's a Hyatt hotel, and it's a very nice hotel. So that they have P.F. Chang's is on the lower right-hand corner. That happens to be my wife and stepdaughter. Really, really nice facility. And we have right in the middle, that's a sushi restaurant called Wasabi. Really, really nicely laid out. So if we can advance the slide, please. So this look familiar to you? This looks just like our mall, very similar. So the Villa Italia Mall, called Belmar now, is 104 acres. Sunrise Mall is 100 acres. Villa Italia opened in 1966. 1.4 million square feet. It's a little bit bigger from a footprint standpoint. I think it's a little bit bigger than our Sunrise Mall is. One of the important things that's not in this slide is I mentioned it briefly, but they had a very complicated ownership. They had one party that owned all of the land, and then they had another party that owned the buildings. So it was a land lease on the building. So that turned into a really complicated negotiating position. So, but you can see in 1966 what the mall looked like. I mean, all that parking was full. And in 2002, you can see the parking is hardly used at all. It's just so similar to the Sunrise Mall. Can you advance the slide, please? So again, I mentioned complicated ownership. There was a purchase of we had It was a brand-new investment group that actually purchased the land, and it was a big undertaking for them to take it over. And then eventually, they closed them all in 2001. Can you advance the slide, please? So the demolition happened in 2001, but the vertical construction started happening in 2003. So this picture that I have here, that's a skating rink they have in the middle of their mall. Really cool. In the summertime, it's roller skating. They have a booth there where they rent roller skates and people roller skate around the outdoor mall. So, and then they have a little bit of a complicated bond refinancing. I'm not going to get deep into that. But the company who bought it was a brand new firm. They'd only been in business for 2 years, and they purchased the mall itself. So it was not purchased by the city. This was fully orchestrated by the city, though. This was not something that would have happened on its just organically. This is something that the city could see that this is an economic engine, and it was really underperforming. So the city actually went out and sought developers and interested parties, which is very much the same thing that we're doing. When I went back there were 3 developers that were in our group. So it was, again, a worthwhile, let's see here. So what they did was they converted the 104 acres into 22 city blocks. So it really, when you go down, if you advance the slide, please. So these are all the amenities here. They have a plaza, park, but right now, well, in 2013, I was looking for updated numbers from the city. They couldn't get them to me in time. But now the mall, where it was not producing any tax revenue before, it's now producing $17 million a year. That was actually 2013 numbers. So again, trying to paint a picture here that there's light at the end of the tunnel when we look at diving into there are a lot of very similar conditions that happened with this Belmar Mall in Colorado. I had lots of people say, well, you could look at Santana Row down in San Jose, or you could look at some other closer malls. There's not, that I've seen, nothing close to a comparison. Santana Road, the whole San Jose is a very different demographic. It's very different, much more concentrated. They're a city of over 1 million people. Their median income is much higher than it is in Citrus Heights. So it's really not a fair comparison to say, well, we could be successful if we went to something like Santana Row here. So, and while this is not necessarily the goal is to raise property values, I would say in looking at the numbers, I think this information was supplied by the city of Lakewood. I think that's probably a little bit of an overstatement, increased property values by 435%. That is probably not true. One of the other pieces that's also important to note is not everybody was on board with this project. There was a lot of people that were directly adjacent to the mall there that were very anti-development there. As a matter of fact, to appease them, the city put up a barrier between their neighborhood and what the existing project will be, and they came to regret that. They now complain that they have to drive half a mile around this barrier to get to the mall. Can you advance the slide, please? So to compare Lakewood, Lakewood's a much bigger city. It's 160,000 people that live in Lakewood. We're about 82,000 people in Citrus Heights, so it's pretty close to double the size. Their crime rate is much higher than ours. Their crime is nearly double what ours is. But when you look at the median age is 40.2 years for us. For them, it's 37.8 years. When we look at the median income, when we start looking at, I brought in specifically, I want to look at what was the median income when this project first got started. So in 2022, median income for Citrus Heights was $73,923. And in 2000, our median income was $43,859. Lakewood median income was 15% higher at $85,988, but that's not it's not an out of the sort of ballpark examination of the difference between. So, but when they did the redevelopment, you can see that the median household income went up a little bit because it was only 9% higher in 2000. So through that process, their median income went up. When you start looking at condo values, yeah, it's higher. And don't get me wrong, there are condos on this property that are $800,000. It's a much more upscale community now compared to what it was in 2000. So, you can advance the next slide, please. So when you look at this is surprising. Look at these rent numbers. Our rents are actually higher than theirs are. They're down. Their rent is median income for rent is about $10 less a month. So I don't know how that whole thing equates, but when you look at their cost of living index, ours is 107.2. If the average across the country is 100, and the Lakewood cost of living is 110. So the point is, when you look at this, this is a very good comparison, and this was a very enjoyable experience going to they had outdoor restaurants, they had parking downtown. Can you advance the slide, please? So what I would say, what I'm recommending to the council is, let's go visit. Let's look and see. I can show you all the pictures in the world, but when you go and see what this development looks like, it will draw inspiration. And I think that our Sunrise Tomorrow plan is much better. It has a much more regional draw and feel to it. And I didn't, as far as the pictures go, I could have loaded, I took lots and lots of pictures when I was there, but I would say, I would absolutely encourage you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm super optimistic about Sunrise Tomorrow. I think it's going to be a great project, and I think it's going to turn out better than the Belmar project did. So with that, that's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you, Tim. Any questions, comments? Go ahead.
I have a question. So the developers that accompanied you, were they local?
They were they were local to
Here?
the ones that went with me were local to here.
Okay, I'm trying to say, did they look at this and say, whoa, Sunrise Mall could look like that, or do they have other sites?
No,
Are there other sites in the region that they're looking to do that?
Yes, they were looking at, they weren't specific. I was there specifically on the SACOG trip to look at the mall.
Okay.
The developers were there to look at different kinds of projects. Colorado also doesn't have, their projects are not required, even though public funding is used, they're not required to be prevailing wage. So that means that their wages are much less. There's much less red tape because they don't have CEQA.
Was any of the housing in there affordable housing, or was it all $800,000 condos?
No, there's affordable housing there.
Okay.
So the senior living facility was all 100% affordable for seniors. So but as far as the mix goes, I think it's a mix of market housing and.
Did they have office space too?
They did have office space.
Did you look at the
Going back to-
ratio? Like we have the ratio of office to retail to housing?
Yes, I would say that
Similar?
the ratios are very similar to. And I just want to say kudos to staff who put all this together as far as the Sunrise Tomorrow. While we approved Sunrise Tomorrow as a plan, it was really a lot of work on staff's part to put all that together. And it's well done because we can convert this. I am super optimistic about this. And again, I'm one person, I have one opinion. I'd certainly like to know what my other council members and city manager and community development, and when they walk this project, what are their thoughts and ideas, and what can we do to really bring those ideas from Colorado to Citrus Heights? And again, I just couldn't believe how comparable their community, their demographics, the way that's all laid out is so comparable to ours. So it is a viable model for us to follow. So,
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, good presentation. It is remarkable how they compare. You know, their mall got built a little bit earlier, our mall came along. Seems like their mall died a little earlier. Our mall, maybe shouldn't say it this way, but is on life support. And then they took something and they saw what they could do with it, and it finally happened. It didn't happen quick, it seems like. And, you
well,
know,
the first phase happened in
Yeah.
3 years. So
Then
the first phase of their
Yeah.
project, because they didn't, there was just a few buildings, there was 70 stores that were in the first phase, and some housing, but most of the housing was built in later phases of the development.
How'd they do all their infrastructure first? How'd they do that? Like, we're looking at our infrastructure.
Yeah, I don't know how, I know that we're kind of a spaghetti mess over there as far as infrastructure goes. I don't know if they were in bad a shape in that respect.
Do they have any hotels?
But that's only money.
They have any hotels?
They do have a beautiful hotel right in the middle of the mall.
Oh, wow.
And it's a Hyatt House. It's a really nice place.
good. Very nice, Tim. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is public comment, and members of the public, if they wish to address the council, please fill out a speaker identification sheet and give it to myself. When you're called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Normally, speakers are limited to 5 minutes each. The mayor has the discretion to reduce the allotted time. We have a countdown display that will flash red at the end of the allotted time. Also consistent with the Brown Act, the council is prohibited from engaging in a discussion or taking action on any item not appearing on the agenda. I know you have a couple of speaker cards, and I also have a couple to read for the general public comment and other items on the agenda.
Okay, very good. We'll start with David Shelton. Come on up.
My name is David Shelton, and that's a hard act to follow. Mayor, Vice Mayor, other council members, let me thank you for letting me speak. I'm here to make comments not about what's wrong with Citrus Heights, but I think we can make it better. I'm talking about code enforcement. I sold my house in Marin County. I'd lived there 32 years, and then I moved up here, and I got twice the house for half the price. My next involvement with housing was when my father-in-law died and we had to sell his house. And I found out that what I was used to in Marin County for realtors was completely different up here. The realtors up here, they took over. They took out a $40,000 loan on my house so they would have money to fix it up. I found out that actually the code for a bedroom, you just have to have a closet. So what they did is they poked, there was an inclined roof, and they poked a hole in the wall, put in a coat rack, and it was a closet. Now, instead of a 3-bedroom house, it was a 4-bedroom house. So it's a lot different. The different, also, it's a change. We were a city of single families, and we were a growing city. Now, with the housing in this area of California, you can't afford rent, but they've solved that by having 4 or 5 people go together, and they all put up $500. 4 people, that's $2,000 for a house payment. And they buy the house. I don't know how they arrange it for ownership and all that, but they buy the house, and then it creates, instead of 1 or 2 cars, you now have 5, or when they have friends, you can have 15 or 20 cars. So it's an entirely different paradigm. So on my street, I talked before about fireworks, and I'm not going to talk about fireworks today. But I started looking at my street, and I've got 3 houses that are just like that. They've got 4 or 5 cars in front of the house. You can't move at night on the street because the cars are wall to wall. So I got into looking at, okay, what's the code for current things? and I looked at some of the houses that were involved in the fireworks, and one of them had no house number. I know that you have to have a house number so the emergency people can find you. A lot of it, there's one car in the driveway that's up on jack stands, and all 4 tires were off, and obviously they were doing maintenance or repair in the driveway on our car. That's against code enforcement. Next thing was parking remains a problem because you have to have, by code enforcement, park cars on concrete or improved at least by gravel. You can't just put it on the grass and let it sit there. But a lot of these cars are covered by covering, and they sit there for months because whoever lived there or they had a friend. And that's another way they save money, is because they had to have a place to store that. Now they put it on their new property. So I'm going to follow up with, I wrote a letter to the code enforcement, and I found out code enforcement is not sworn officers. Their building office operations are in the police department, but I could be a code enforcement officer. They have no teeth. I also found out that there isn't really any coordination of how things happen. So I ask, what happens now? I've complained about the driveway maintenance, no house number. Another house had lawn that was dead. It was obviously a vacant house. And so what's going on? That was also the place where the fireworks were. So that was what drew my attention, was those were the people setting off the fireworks. And then I find out that what they do, the city writes to the premise. So if you're at the premise and you get a letter from the county and you're the renter, I don't think you're going to pass that on to the building owner. Now, it's been 2 weeks since I made that complaint, and I drove by today, and there's been no change. So I'm wondering what code enforcement is going to do.
Okay, Mr. Shelton, the chief is in the back. I'm sure he's going to make a note and get with you and make sure, because you did bring those issues up previously, that we get good resolution on them quickly.
Thank you for your
Quickly.
time.
Okay. Amy, I don't have any other cards for public comment. Do you have any other public comment?
I had received a public comment card electronically from a Sarah Truelove. I didn't know if they were in the audience. Their comment was, what can we do to provide a solution to enforcing driving laws and safety concerns with elementary school parent drop-off pickup? So, and then I have a public comment from Rick Hodgkins. He states, I tried opening up the sunrisetomorrow.net website to check out the most latest updates, and unfortunately cannot open the window. The website will not open up for some strange, weird reason. I think the website might be down. Furthermore, I did look at it on the Citrus Heights City main website, and while I am impressed by it, I cannot stress enough that we must keep the indoor portion of the mall. That's all I'm asking, the indoor portion, so people have a place to go when the weather is not so good, if it's cold, raining, and windy outside. And will we no longer have a JCPenney's or Macy's? I understand Sears went on a business and that therefore they only allow you to shop at their online store. Does this mean we will no longer have a JCPenney or Macy's? Is this going to be like the Birdcage Town Center across the street? I just feel that if we had an indoor space that was heated, that would make me feel much more comfortable about the project, keeping the inside of the mall and designing all the entertainment, hotels, restaurants, etc., designing them away where people can enter them from both the inside and outside. I'm glad to see that the plan is flexible, but I'm still worried that there will no longer be a nice and warm place to go in and hang out. And you can't just go into a place unless you're going to do business there, a hotel, restaurant, and store. And then the last comment is from Rick Hodgkins. It's regarding the consent calendar item for the item number 8 regarding resolution supporting California Proposition 36. And his comments are, I realize that this is on consent. I will be reluctantly voting for this come November. I say write, print, reluctantly because it has been my experience. Not everybody does drugs for the same reason. Some people engage in drug activity as a way to cope with being homeless, and being homeless, we know, could be no fault of their own. It could be because the rent was too high and that they could no longer afford it. They were in the middle of a battle of a divorce, and so they were the party to leave the residence, or that they lost their job and that the job was the only source of income to pay the rent. And so as a result, they became homeless, and how did they cope? They turned to drugs. Those are the people who I would like to see get help. But for those who are doing drugs for particularly no reason other than to get high, I will be supporting this, as I said, come November. And that concludes the written public comment for this section of the agenda.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask for next item, but I wanted to ask if the council would entertain, and if Ryan, tell us if it's okay, if we could move item number 10 up and take that first.
Yes, you can, Mayor.
Would everybody be okay with that? Okay. Go ahead and call that item.
So, regular calendar, item number 10. The subject is Economic Development Support Fund allocation for annual agreement with the Greater Sacramento Economic Council. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution of the City Council approving an agreement between the Greater Sacramento Economic Council and the City of Citrus Heights in an amount not to exceed $34,335 for fiscal year 24-25.
Good evening, Council. I'm Megan Huber, Economic Development and Community Engagement Director for the city. As indicated by Councilmember Schaefer's great presentation earlier this evening, the City of Citrus Heights sets very large economic development goals. And when you are a scrappy team with very big economic development goals, it's important to approach it as a team sport. And here internally within the city, we're lucky to have great partners who work alongside economic development, including our Community Development Department, General Services Department, Admin Services, City Manager's Office, and Police Department. We also have really great regional economic development partners. And that relates to the item this evening, approving a recommendation of approval of our annual agreement with Greater Sacramento Economic Council, known as GSEC. GSEC is the Sacramento region's economic development organization that drives business attraction, retention, and expansion in key industry sectors and clusters. So again, staff recommendation is definitely approval to continue our partnership. And here this evening with us is CEO Barry Broom to provide a brief presentation on the Sacramento region's economic development progress and how it relates to Citrus Heights.
Thank you. Come on up, Barry.
Thank you, Mayor. Historic occasion to see you go makes me very sad, but I know you're going to, I hear you're going to Kentucky?
We are.
Yeah, well, I'm an Ohio guy, so if you need any tips, I'll let you know. If you haven't intertubed on the Ohio River before, I know all the tricks.
Nice.
But, you're a great guy and a straight shooter and a good man. And, you're going to love Kentucky because good people in Kentucky. And I really appreciate, the vice mayor and all of you making such a sacrifice with your time to try to help Citrus Heights and the community. I mean, it is an uphill battle in California to fight for your town. And you do a great job with it, and we're really proud of you. We're going to be sorry to see you go, but, we'll continue the fight in your honor. And it was great to see your boys. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so congratulations on your family and 14 years of service, and enjoy Kentucky. And I know I'm going to see you again because I'm going to be mad if I can't. Yeah. And if you're too close to the Ohio border, you might see me in your front yard because I can teach you how to talk now. I got kin all along the Ohio River, so you can start learning all the Kentucky language. So it is kind of apropos looking at the Lakewood project, and you saw that big flip in economics that had a lot to do with, Denver's economy changing, the big transit system, the airport. Denver was a telecom kind of almost energy, very cyclical commodity-based place, and they built their economy around their universities and really changed their economic condition. And of course, that elevated the wages, and then those wages can make things happen. And I am very bullish on Sunrise, and we'll stand there with you. And I know Megan's going to do your job for you. So if you can just flip through this. So, since our conception, I am proud to say we were named the #3 economic development organization 3 years in a row by the International Economic Development Council. No California Economic Development Group has ever earned that distinction. So I think that's the consistency in leadership, about 33,000 jobs. We try to get those wages. Some years we're around 117,000. We average close to 90,000 on the wages. And you can see as we bring those wages up, that allows us to increase disposable income. And we have tremendous directors now. You have over 50 CEOs on the board. And I think since the inception of the organization, I've had like 2 companies drop. And of course, they were sold and left the area. So I'm really proud of the board. And, we're very excited to continue to drive this economy, to create a platform for Citrus Heights and other communities to reach their potential. So jobs pay the income. So one of the things we like to say is, our goal is to provide a set of services you can't produce on your own. It's a little bit like a cooperative, that we can expand and grow the market beyond one community working on themselves. So it's services that you can't provide on your own. It's a menu of low-cost values to your community economic development team. And then, Citrus residents work in the economy, and as those wages go up, you get paid back. So it's a return model as well. So this is how we share the economy. If you look around, like 25% of the residents in Citrus Heights work in Citrus Heights. So as the region booms, 75% of your residents get expanded job opportunities on these technology corridors. And, we have varied degrees of success with our local communities. You can see the counties tend to hold more of their jobs than the local communities. You can see like City of Galt, City of Lincoln, some of the other communities. We're all counting on each other to work together to pull up this economy so we've got greater capacity to do more good for our community. So this is kind of exciting. If you remember, we got hit harder than anybody else in 2008, stayed down longer. When we launched the organization, we were the second worst place in the United States for a young person to find a job. And Sacramento State had the poorest graduation rate of any public university in America. And, as you know, our universities serve on the board. My current chairman is Chancellor Gary May. So getting the universities embedded into the economy and getting the CEOs and getting the public leaders together so that there's one kind of driving mission behind what we're doing has led to the success. And this is independent data that shows, we're the 28th U.S. market. 2017, we were 66, 72, 80. Now in 2024, we're top performing. We were earlier the #2 region in the United States for job growth, but we're #4. And a report just came out. Sacramento's now #2 for tech workers in the U.S. Sadly, the rest of the California data doesn't look anything like this. And we know we're wishing San Francisco and Oakland and LA wasn't looking like they're looking, but they are, and those economic conditions are going to get a lot worse. So I'm hoping at some point the state capital will reverse engineer a little bit of its philosophies, give greater local control. I agree with you on that, Mayor, and start working on the business climate so we can make it a little bit easier to get people to work. So big part of what we're trying to do now, I will hit 10 years in February, so I don't have 14 years of service, but I have 10 years of service. And, we always like, consistent with Citrus Heights, what's the big vision around here? We can't just stand pat, and I think a lot of our work has helped us. But what's the big vision going forward? So where are we heading into the future? And if you look at what has very quietly happened, we've become an international market. Bosch is in the process of putting $2 billion in the market, but also the Korean market has made some big investments in our community. We have our universities like Aggie Square. So a big directional shift. I always like to talk about UC Davis. 2015, when I met with UC Davis, they told me they were a San Francisco university. And their faculty were all from Berkeley. Most of them still lived down in Berkeley and drove up to teach. Their tech transfer office was in San Francisco, and they drove all their technology out of town. Now all their technology is in the center of the region. Chancellor Mays engineered that. It's been tough, but we got sued under a CEQA lawsuit. So that was, no good deed goes unpunished. But we've powered through it. But now, Solidigm, we just came back from South Korea. We met with the CEO of SK Hynix. It's a $50 billion company. They have a $9 billion equity investment in Solidigm, which is in Rancho Cordova. And a lot of people wouldn't have thought of Rancho Cordova as being a place that could have a company like Solidigm. And so I agree with the optimism on Sunrise. You keep believing, you keep pushing, you keep believing, you keep pushing, you get a break. It changes people's opinions. If you look at it, if you go back, look at the housing crisis and you look at the cost of rents in Citrus Heights, we're going to be a very attractive community in the future for young families. And eventually this hard work is going to pay off. But we now have, of the top 9 semiconductor companies in the world, they all have an R&D center in our region. 5 years ago, that was just 2. And of course, you're hearing about Intel struggling. And, Samsung has big internal plans, as does Bosch and Solidigm. So hopefully Intel rights itself. But if it struggles, we got these new employers now to absorb those engineers. So instead of having them leave town, they'll realign and be able to stay and continue to grow the top performance of our economy. So this has been a miracle, and we've been very excited about it. Next slide. Before I go off that, last slide, one more thought. The semiconductor industry is going to double in size in 5 years. So having those R&D centers are going to create a lot of excitement, and it's actually going to increase 800% in 15 years. A lot of it is, the semiconductor industry went into Asia in the 80s and early 90s to offset costs, and now the threats that China is making in that region, Taiwan's been a big location for it. They're all migrating back to the U.S., and that's kind of what the CHIPS Act's doing. So a lot of what we're doing, we work very hard with the airport. We are going to get a commitment from Lufthansa to get a direct flight in 2026. We're starting in Korea. We just came back from that Saturday, so if I just immediately fall asleep and fall on the floor, that's what happens. I did fall asleep in a meeting, and I woke up and they were all looking at me, and I was like, oh, that was only 18 minutes. I fell asleep for 18 minutes in a meeting. So I'm practicing getting older, using jet lag as my excuse. So, but South Korea was very exciting. We met with the president of SK Hynix, and he gave us 4 hours time. And they're going to bring their CEO and chairman to the community in the next 2 months. So I think that's exciting news for us. Then obviously, one of the things we want to do, we've been building funds and capital sources for startups. Another opportunity, I think, in Citrus Heights too, because you're going to get much younger, much quicker over time. We're going to focus a lot harder on, how do we get investment into these communities. So I'll give you an example. UC Davis spins out 5 companies. If once Aggie Square is built out, that number could go to 40. So that's how much, because, if you know anything about UC Davis, it's been a world-class academic center, but it's trapped inside its own scholarship, right? It doesn't, it's a little inertia and it's a little traditionalist. So this Aggie Square is going to change the culture as well. And, so we're looking at how do we build more venture? How do we build more equity? River City Bank and Five Star are getting very good at helping entrepreneurs. So we're spending a little bit more time in this space, but just capital, because we can't be all things to all people. We're not that big of an organization. I kind of went into that. So basically the simple put is, how do we build 3 venture funds? We actually have 2 underway in the market. We're trying to help Minetta Ventures, if you're familiar with Lokesh, trying to get his fund to $350 million. And these venture funds draw young people up. Growth Factory, if you know Mark Caney, a super guy. He gets companies moving up here from Palo Alto now to start up in his accelerator. And a lot of these semiconductor companies that we're meeting with, they're pulling all their talent out of Palo Alto. So the idea that we can pull engineers out of Silicon Valley now is really important, rather than have them leave for Texas, right? Instead of just leaving the state now, that trend is they're coming here. And of course, it just came out, Business Facilities Magazine named Sacramento the #2 tech hub in the U.S. So that's pretty impressive when you consider 5, 6, 7 years from now, no one would talk to us. So a good example of hard work paying off. So obviously, we know how much the Kings mean to us. we're constantly working against the old reputation of the town. So we've been working on Major League Baseball and Major League Soccer because, those are big brands. They excite young people. They're reputation builders and they're income producers. And, I was talking to Major League Baseball person, and a guy was, look, we all know the Kings are struggling, and you guys kind of had a little bump there when you kept them. I'm like, where's that come from? So I went to the Kings and I said, where do we stand in the NBA? He said, we're in the top 10 revenue. So, that's up against LA, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, big markets. So the Kings punch way above their weight. The Athletics will start in March. So in March, we can see the Athletics in town, right? Which I think will be very exciting for the community and very exciting for West Sacramento that's worked forever on the Bridge District. But, those kind of things, that's another 4 months. You're on ESPN. There'll be 1 million unique visitors because of the Athletics. So even though, I know a lot of people think, well, it's just sports, but they are really powerful economic drivers. I don't know if you saw, there's a major entertainment announcement in West Sacramento along the river. So people are now looking at West Sacramento like, well, there's some optimism here. 6 months ago, I didn't have a single person talk to me about West Sacramento. So those are the kind of things I think will eventually happen for us at Sunrise. We're going to go after Major League Baseball. We're very close. We found an equity investor for the Sac Republic, so keep your fingers crossed. We may be able to announce very soon the stadium deal. And of course, that was a big hurdle. What it takes to build in California. So I think if we can get that stadium built, I think the odds of us getting an investor to back on the MLS bid when Ron Burkle left is more exciting. So we're also working with Sac State. They're working to become a Division I, top-tier Division I sports team with the goal to be part of the rebuilding of the Pac-12. So these sports brands are really important. And, when we work on brand, they're a significant part of our work.
Barry, there's a 100-acre parcel up
Yeah, I know that. We should have that there.
You could really kick off a
That'll be for the
redevelopment.
NFL team,
Yeah.
so when I re-snatch the Raiders, that's where they're going to be, Mayor. And then, this is obviously, we're going to roll out a new brand. I think it's kind of cool. Be More, Do Greater Sacramento. It really talks about, we kind of have been, the reputation for years is, well, if you want to buy a house, you come up into the greater Sacramento region, but you got to kind of give up your career in Silicon Valley, and you can't do the startups, and you can't do all the cool stuff, and the old rap, there's nothing to do up here. So now we've kind of taken that where it's like, be more, like come to Sacramento, and, you can be a mom, and you can be a CEO. You can ride your bike, and you can start a venture fund. You can, be an engineer and enjoy living in a quaint community. You can have affordability and have an upward career. And I have had nothing to do with this, which is one of the reasons why it's doing so well. But the Kings and VSP have led that, and my head of marketing, Jasmine Ward. So one of the things we'll ask you to do is participate in that. That's kind of being under development right now. But can you get that YouTube video up? Or is that just like sitting there? It's kind of cool if you can. Oh, you can. Is it okay if I show you that real quick? I think you'll enjoy it. You want to open it up first?
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel always
So that's a little bit of a teaser for, everything is geared towards 30-year-old people now. So if we didn't see any of ourselves in there, that's why. But, I think it's going to, kind of, the town's still a little beat up from COVID and, it's been a tough time. So we wanted to come up with a new brand and give people just something to rally around and be excited. So the Kings will help us with that and others. So that's kind of the brief overview. I appreciate your friendship. We're going to miss you. I want to thank all of you for being such a good partner and a supporter. I was joking when I came in, everybody reports essentially to Megan Huber now. But it's been great, and I know we're going to be very successful together. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Barry. Any questions or comments for the speaker?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, go ahead, Tim.
I like the video a lot.
Good.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to own my own pond.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Thank you, Barry.
right,
Always
thank
good
you,
to hear
Mayor.
from you. Thank you. Anything else, Megan? So we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor,
Yes, I'm
I
sorry.
do have one written public comment for
Thank you.
this item.
See, this is what Amy does, yes. Thank you, Amy. Go ahead.
Mom.
Mom.
It's, it's from Rick Hodgkins. He states, "I rise in support of this because in addition to drawing in more businesses to the city, I believe that this will hopefully allow us to improve our beautification efforts as well as our sidewalks and streetscapes." And that concludes its comments.
Thank you very much. Okay, any comments or questions regarding the item? If none, I'll hear a motion.
I'd like to move that we adopt resolution, adopt a resolution 2024, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights approving the agreement between Greater Sacramento Economic Council and the City of Citrus Heights in the amount not to exceed $34,335 for fiscal year 2024 and 2025.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Schaefer and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Taff. Any questions or comments to the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, please.
The next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with Councilmember Lopez Taff.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I did attend my Sac Library Board meeting, and a major announcement that happened was there was a fire with a subsequent closure for repairs of Colonial Heights Library. So they had a fire that started and was contained in their kitchen, but spread, the smoke damaged everything else. And so just know that we do have one library down. Our own Sylvan Library is up and operational. They did just celebrate having summer lunches at the library over the summer, and that was very, very well received by all. The other event that I attended was our elected officials event last Thursday. Very, very well received, very nice event. Please, if you are ever notified that a wonderful event is going on in the city, try and attend. You just never know who you're going to meet. And we had elected officials from many, many municipalities, and our Senator Nilo and Assemblyman Josh Hoover in attendance as well. And finally, I had the pleasure to attend our Citrus Heights Veterans Community Center luau on Saturday. And, we had that little bit of rain that put us indoors, but we had a good celebration, great music and entertainment. And so that was wonderful to support that event. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Schaefer.
Councilmember Jane, where is the Colonial Heights Library? Do you know?
It's in the south, off of Stockton Boulevard.
After Stockton. Okay. So I had business out of town, unfortunately, so I missed the luau and I missed the elected officials reception. But part of what I was out of town for was to visit the Belmar Mall again last week. But I did have a SACOG meeting right after our council meeting, last council meeting. And I was initially very excited about a new program that the state is offering for street maintenance and repairs. But it's really only if you can meet the very aggressive vehicle miles traveled threshold for saving greenhouse gases. So let me put that into perspective. So the 2019 greenhouse gas vehicle miles traveled is 24.7 miles per day per person, which works out to about 8,800 miles per year. That is average. Most people are driving about 15,000 miles. So this would probably be ideal for like a midtown or some very highly urbanized area that they might qualify for this, where people are using a lot of public transit. But that's the 2019 vehicle mile traveled goal. I think it's 2035, I think it is. It's 17.4. So that's about 6,800 miles per year, which again, I don't think for a city like us, well, this is an exciting program because it's never been offered by the state before, where we're actually getting money for maintenance of the streets. Really, unfortunately, not something we probably are ever going to qualify for. So that's my report on that item. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Karpinski-Costa.
Good evening, and thank you, Mayor. On the 15th of August, I attended a quality of life meeting with the mayor, so who's into the quality of life. And so anyway, it was just when we have little committee meetings about issues before it comes to council. But then on the 20th, our city manager and I went to the swearing in of our new Citrus Heights postmaster, Tanzu Karademir. And he is one incredible guy. You never saw anything when all the postal, he had his swearing in right there at the post office. All his employees just love this guy. He's wonderful. I think he's a great addition to our city, and you get to meet him. He's going to come here. He's on vacation right now. His parents came for his swearing in, and he's with them on vacation, and he should be at city here to be recognized in September sometime. So you'll get to all meet him when he shows up. We gave him a little city pin. He put it right on. He's super guy. Then I left there and zoomed into my mosquito meeting. I haven't zoomed into a meeting forever, so I zoomed in. As the West Nile report is that this year our mosquitoes are fewer than any year. That happens. After you have a big year, you'll have a year where there's not too many positive, because it's a bird disease, not a people disease, but people get it. But so when you wipe out a whole bunch of birds, then you don't really have them around the next year. So wiping out birds. But I did see online that Fauci got West Nile. Dr. Fauci got West Nile. So how's West Nile transmitted? Mosquitoes, but he was wearing his mask, so that was good, just in case. Anyways, that was Fauci. Went to I want to thank the chamber for hosting the elected officials night. It was very nice to see all our elected officials. They got 3-minute talk about our organizations and all the great stuff we do. I was with some of our staff and Councilmember Jane to the luau, and it's true, it was a little tight indoors. It would have been nicer outdoors, but that's the way they're so adaptable, and I'm glad that our city supports that place. It's good. I did do Monday with the Mayor. You will always be remembered for Monday with the Mayor, because I think it's a great program. I had 4 or 5 people showed up on Monday, and it's nice to be able to deal one-on-one with residents. I want to thank our code enforcement staff for coming over and meeting with one of the residents that brought his issues. And we're such a responsive city, so if you don't get a response right away, you get a response. But some things, by nature of what they are, take a little more time. And then I attended the Area 10 meeting that night. And again, you see staff. Mary Poole was there. Leslie Bloomquist, our city engineer, talked about the Auburn Boulevard process that's going on. And it's just incredible, our staff. It's just everywhere you see our staff do any kind of presentations, it's always an awesome event. So anyways, that's my report.
Did the city manager dance during the luau this year?
He did not. We left before the dancing began. But I still have
We have
you
video.
on video
We've
from
got
last
video.
year. No, it's blackmail money.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just real quick, just want to again say thank you for earlier tonight and all the comments. Thank you so much. For those that might be in the dark, I am moving. I'm moving to Kentucky. And I'm going to miss this place, going to miss this council, miss Citrus Heights, but it'll always be my home, and we'll be back. We have a lot of family and friends here. So I think that this city is on an incredible path. I think that we will see the things like Tim presented earlier at some point. And I think, we can continue to move towards being the envy of the place to live. And we have so much going on for us. And some people think that being built out is not a good thing. I actually think being built out is a wonderful thing because we know exactly who we are, and we're going to be that in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And that's only going to get better, and we're not going to have to deal with the headaches of development like you see in Elk Grove and Folsom and Roseville and those kind of places. And so we're blessed. We're blessed, and I'm sure it will continue to thrive. And I look forward to coming back and seeing the progress that the city council and city staff and city manager does going forward. With that, next item, please.
Next item is consent calendar items 6, 7, and 8.
Okay, remember, we did get a public comment on number 8. Anybody want to pull anything off the consent
Yeah,
calendar?
I want to pull 8 for a comment.
Okay, number 8. Any other items to be pulled? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I'll move 6 and 7.
Okay. I'll second it. It's been moved by Vice Mayor Karpinski-Costa and seconded by the mayor. Any questions or comments on the consent calendar? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That passes. Item number 8, please.
So item number 8.
Oh, hold on.
You want to read
Call
it?
the item?
You want to read it?
Sure. So the item 8 is the resolution supporting California Proposition 36, the increased drug and theft penalties and reduce homelessness.
And the reason I just wanted, it didn't seem to give it short shrift to just stick it in a consent calendar. So I just wanted everybody to know that we are about to approve our support of this ballot initiative that will change the way retail theft has been handled. So it looks like, and I urge you all to read your ballot booklets, closely when you get it so you understand it. I think it's a powerful reform that, helps undo some of the damage caused by Prop 47. And so it's not going to harm the average little thief, but if you're a thief who thieves and thieves and thieves, you're going to go to jail. So that's the way, you shouldn't be getting away with this. It also adds fentanyl to the list of drugs that will be considered along with heroin and methamphetamine and opioids. It puts fentanyl in there. So, and then there's some other provisions. There's a lot of provisions in there, offers help. There's some homeless issues in there that offers medical and mental, emotional job training and things like this for people. So there's a lot of reforms in there and helps reduce the crime on our streets. So I do support this, and with that, I will move item 8.
Any other comments or questions before we get a second? Okay, anyone to second that?
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Karpinski-Costa and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Taft. Any questions or comments to the motion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar, item number 9. The subject is resolution approving a grant recipient agreement with Hope Cooperative to provide permanent supportive housing for seniors at the Auburn Oaks project. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a grant recipient agreement between the City of Citrus Heights and TLCS, DBA Hope Cooperative for the Auburn Oaks project.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Casey Kempenari, Community Development Director here tonight. As the council will recall, 2 weeks ago, we brought this item forward, and there was a number of questions that were raised. So it took some time to do a deeper dive and present some information tonight and in your staff report. For the sake of the public, I'm going to go over some of those details. So, they may not be familiar with it, so I'll go over it. So spend a little time, but I'll try to be concise. So as a reminder, Hope Cooperative was the recipient of about a $30 million grant to purchase and remodel and activate the existing Auburn Oaks senior apartments into a permanent supported housing project. They did have a funding gap, and they asked the city if we could be a participant of that to help fill that gap to make the project come to fruition. The project would happen regardless if the city participated, but we saw a lot of advantages to participating by controlling how it would operate, the mix of tenants and so forth, making it, make sure it fits with the community. So in addition to agreed upon operational terms to ensure that the support services are necessary there, it also has a unit mix that's more desirable. So it'll be restricted to seniors or 55 plus. It fills a niche. A lot of affordable housing is either folks make too much money or not enough, and so this has a niche that's targeting folks that do get Social Security income. There's 24-hour management support services on site. And 20 existing residents that live there will continue to be a part of the project after it's remodeled. There is no city entitlement required, so there's no discretionary hearing. The only question is whether, to give the money to help support it and memorialize this agreement. So in the funding stack for this project, it's a $30 million project to purchase, rehab, and cover the ongoing operating costs. So we have a pretty small part in that, and the $29 million is coming from, most of that, about $25 million is coming from a grant from the state. SHRA is contributing $2.5 million. Sac County is contributing $2.25 million. Hope Cooperatives has about $100,000, and then our request is for the PLHA funds of about $500,000. A little bit later, I'm going to talk a little bit how this project supports the strategic objectives the council's been working hard on over the last several years. So just to refamiliarize you with the site, it's shown here in red. It's right there on Sunrise in Old Auburn. You've probably driven by it a million times. I know Sunrise is a very busy street. The condition of the building is not great. It's pretty dilapidated. It was built in 1975, has not seen a comprehensive update since then. So it could use some sprucing up to really fit the city's image that we're trying to portray. So it is a busy corridor, and it tells a story coming in the city. So I think it's an opportune time to rehab that and make it shine again. It does have good bones too. That's designed for seniors. It has the rooms are set up in a convenient way. It has outdoor space that is good for community gathering. There's the atrium features you can see here. So there are good bones. It just needs to be loved on a little bit. So just kind of reminding where we're at today, it's market rate housing. Yes, it was designed for seniors, but it's market rate. There's nothing protecting that from being sold to someone else that could change the rents, make it not senior. There's nothing preventing that from happening. It's also mostly vacant, so there's about 20 residents in there, and those are the residents who will get to stay as part of this project. There's no active management on the site, so that really has led to some of the problems that has led to a higher than average call for service related to homelessness and loitering and those kind of things. The structures are dilapidated. They need some love. There's like some big ticket items, HVAC and roof need to be replaced. And again, it's been a long time since it's seen any attention. Back to 1975 was when it was built, and it could use some more work. There are a higher than average number of call volume when you factor in that's only 20% occupied. So a lot of those calls have to do with calls that are attributed to a lack of management on the site. Normally, if you had a manager of a complex, they're out there making sure things are the way they should be. They generally can take care of most stuff. If they had a problem, they would be able to call the police department. But right now, none of that management is occurring. So there's some problems that linger that shouldn't be occurring because there's no active management. So what will it be? It will be 88 units for at-risk seniors. So these are seniors that are at risk of becoming homeless, have been formerly homeless. They've been in programs for seniors who've been abused and similar at-risk seniors. It'll be a mix of studios and one-bedrooms. And reality is it's probably around 88 residents. Most of these units, because they're small, will be one person in them. As on occasion, they will have a spouse or someone, a partner, and sometimes there's two, but reality is, in practice, typically it's one person per unit. Can't hit enough that it will result in a full rehab of the building and the site and really make it look appropriate for the corridor. There'll be on-site 24-hour management, on-site support services and case management, and then a mix of tenants aligned with the proposed agreement that aligns with the city's vision. From an operational standpoint, Hope Cooperative is a well-qualified operator. This is what they do. They provide support services. They have projects throughout the region, and they provide the case management and wraparound services. They also have professional property management. Someone will live on site 24 hours a day. And residents that come here will be referred to from partner agencies. So 30 units from Department of Behavioral Health, 30 units from Family and Adult Services, and 28 units from Coordinated Access. And keep in mind, 20 of those residents will be those that are already there, that are already Citrus Heights residents. So just want to kind of cover what is involved in Auburn Oaks in the future in terms from a staffing perspective. As I mentioned, there'll be one property manager who will live on site. There's 6 case managers who are dealing with the day-to-day, helping provide the services that these residents need. There's 2 resident liaisons. One manager is 50%, that's covered between this site and another site. Assistant manager is 100% time. And they also have a chef and assistant chef, so they do have food service, which is, I think, a unique offering. So in terms of the programs they offer, in addition to the case management, they have life skills to help these folks that have been formerly living on the street reintegrate and be good neighbors and reintegrate into the city. So they have skills like securing income and employment, how to be a good neighbor, cooking, laundry. They also have healthcare opportunities. They're planning to offer things such as physical therapy, health care for older adults, being that they're all over 55. And then they also have an office for on-site visiting therapy or medical providers. And I think it's pretty cool to have the food service. Each unit will have its own kitchen. There's also a communal kitchen, so they will provide, we want to make sure these folks are eating healthy. They'll have 2 continental style that's pre-made on a daily basis, and then 1 hot cooked meal a day that's open to them. They can, of course, also cook on their own in their own unit. So I want to talk about what it will not be. It's not a homeless shelter. Anyone entering the site has been through a program. If they were on the street before, they've gone through a series of steps to graduate to this point where they're kind of living semi-independent, but they have the support services they need to stay independent, and they have the wraparound services to make sure they stay that way. It's not housing for families. As I mentioned, it's studio 1 bedrooms. They're smaller units. They're not going to be really conducive to families. And then the 55 age plus ensures that. Right now, it's like I mentioned, it's housing without services. It will no longer be that. There'll be a robust staff and offerings to make sure the services that are provided are needed. The structure will be brand new. It will no longer be dilapidated. And there's no more risk for becoming market rate. It's going to be permanent, affordable, supportive housing. As I mentioned, the council's been working hard over the last several years on a number of strategic objectives, but in particular, public safety and community vibrancy. So we've created the beautification crew, proactive code enforcement, community health workers, chronic nuisance program, and all these efforts have been in an effort to improve public safety and improve community vibrancy. I think this part dovetails nicely into that, in that it restores a site to be a conducive site that's providing service. Right now, there's been a number of challenges. It converts that to a site that's got services that are needed to make sure it's providing an amenity for the community. By the city contributing funding, we have, again, a stake in the project, and we have more say on the mix of units, and we make sure that's appropriate for not only the site itself, but for the city as a whole. From a community vibrancy perspective, I mean, just rehabbing the property will go a long way to telling the story as you come into the city from either direction. Related to our general plan, we have a number of goals in the general plan that seek to preserve housing for special needs or lower income. While this isn't deed restricted, it historically has been an affordable source of housing for seniors. As I mentioned, there's nothing preventing that from changing unless there's a project like this from occurring. There's also no guarantee if it was sold to another party that would be rehabbed, so they could flip it around and make it market rate, non-senior, with no rehab, and jack up the rents without us having any recourse. So the proposed agreement is the $500,000 investment of PLHA funds. The agreement memorializes the operational approaches with Hope Cooperative, makes the comprehensive rehab happen, remains affordable to seniors, has a tenant mix restrictions, and then you can see here that there are income restrictions that are supportive of those that are maybe on Social Security. And then last but not least, and probably most important, is the 24-hour on-site support services. So there were a number of questions the council had last time. I want to just kind of tackle them one by one. There was a question related to, can we restrict this project to just Citrus Heights residents? Due to federal fair housing laws, we can't discriminate based on geography, so that is a challenge, but we have a plan to overcome that. We need to do our work to make sure that the list of folks that have the opportunity to come here are Citrus Heights residents. So if we have folks that we come into contact through our community health workers, the police department, HART, the city, we can make sure they're queued up and ready to go once the project goes live. So that's going to be our effort to make sure that we have as good a chance as possible to make sure it's stacked with Citrus Heights residents to the extent we can. Then the 20 existing residents will remain, which is about a quarter of the site. The next question that came up was, since other agencies can have residents placed in Auburn Oaks, do they contribute? In a way, yes, they do. Sacramento County is contributing $2.25 million. That could have been invested in other locations. SHRA has $2.5 million to the project too. SHRA is a JPA between the city of Sacramento and the county of Sacramento. And there's been a significant investment in the region. I just showed Sacramento County ones on here, but there's been a number of permit supported projects built. So on the left side are ones that are active now. It's about 700 units that have been built in the last several years, just like this project. There's also on the right is 450 units that are in the process at all the cities in the region. I didn't include Galt, but all the suburbs in the region have something coming. And so those are all in different stages of development along the way. Can families or youth live in Auburn Oaks? As mentioned, that's generally the exception. The head of households have to be 55. The units are smaller, not really set up for families. And in our own experience with our community health workers, it's rare to have a 55-plus person that's in the system like this that has a kid. Of our 113 residents that are enrolled in the Homeless Management Information System, which was what we use to track folks that have been enrolled in programming. 34 of the 113 are enrolled in the system, 34 are 55 plus, and none of those 34 have children. So those are the clientele that have an opportunity to come stay here. So just paint a picture. How will Auburn Oaks impact emergency services? So we took a really close look at this, and as mentioned, the current condition just lends itself to having some challenges. And we've talked to Hope Cooperative, and we've talked to the police department, and just by nature of having an on-site manager, having more eyes on the site, rehabbing the project, that really brings it up to and make sure that we have less problems with the site. We do know that most multifamily projects have a stabilization period. If you put that many people in one place at one time, there's going to be bumps in the road that need to be addressed. But that's where you have a quality operator like Hope, who's dialed in with a significant staff to make sure that any bumps in the road are addressed in a timely manner. They've also already built a relationship with our police department through this process, and if there is something they can't deal with, they have the police department. But from all our experience in talking to other agencies that have these, that hasn't really been the reality. It's been the good operator is who makes the difference. So just a little bit about where the funding comes from. PLHA is it was created by the state. It's essentially a fee that goes on recording fees. So from year to year can vary. It has to be used for housing related expenses. So on average, it ranges between $230,000 and $500,000 a year for us. And we've allocated some of it. Initially, we're going to use some for a navigator. We had Supervisor Sue Frost helped us out with that. So we have a little additional money, and I think this is a good use of that because it creates a resource in the city. We will continue to see money in perpetuity from this funding source, so it'll be continuing to come in. And something that we think we'll talk about the council as part of strategic planning on how to use that in the future. So wrapping up, why allocate the PLH funds? Well, Hope is a qualified operator that can create a resource, and we can fill that funding gap by giving us some more protection and assurances about what that mix is like and the operating standards. We do have a number of vulnerable seniors who are either have experienced homelessness or are at risk of experiencing homelessness, so this is a resource so we can make sure that our seniors have a place to go. There's not a lot of options for folks that are on Social Security, so this fills that niche. And then we know Hope Cooperative is very responsive. They have a game plan moving forward. This is going to have a lot of services available to help folks to make sure they stay housed. That concludes my presentation. I'd like to turn it over to see if the city manager has any comments to add.
Thanks, Director Kempenaar. Thank you for that thorough presentation and the staff report. Council asked a lot of good questions at the previous meeting around this funding contribution and what it is, why it's important, and had a lot of questions around the project that Director Kempenaar just went through and answered. And just kind of backing up a little bit, when I first received the call from Hope letting me know that they had successfully received this grant, I was really excited about that because I was very concerned that this property was a perfect candidate for somebody to come in and do a value add project where basically what they do, and there's a lot of money that can be made doing this, is you come into a project that is in poor shape, but it's priced right, and you come in, you evict everybody. You do the minimum possible to get it released, and you jack the rents as high as you can. So we had a project that traditionally served seniors that was at risk of evicting folks and probably doing minimal from a rehab standpoint and then releasing at a higher rent. Not great for the city. So Hope, having this grant that's going to fully rehab the property, is great from our community image standpoint, all the efforts that we're focused on relative to beautification as well. And then from a public safety standpoint, as Director Kempenaar mentioned, it's a fully staffed project with supportive services, remains as age-restricted housing. And so we think it's a fantastic opportunity from that standpoint, and that's one to be celebrated. The other thing is with the gap funding contribution, as Director Kempenaar mentioned, this project's happening. There is funding that's for the project that's already been allocated. There's this gap funding of $500,000. There is other funding out there that Hope could pursue and is readily available to them. With the City of Citrus Heights contribution, it does give us some local control relative to the unit mix of residents that would be more advantageous to the city relative to potential, future service call demand, so on and so forth. And we do have opportunities to, talk to the operator more relative to this funding contribution. So it gives us some local control where we otherwise wouldn't have it. So that's one of the reasons why we're making this recommendation for this funding contribution. We do believe that this project is much better than the alternative. It's certainly way better than the existing condition, and it's something that we're excited about, and we hope the City Council is supportive of it.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments for the speakers? Yeah, go ahead.
Question. First of all, I want to thank you for this report because you did answer some questions that we had, and it all is clear now. You said something about when you talked about the various funding that the various sources of the residents that are going to come from, so many from this group. So you said you had one called Consolidated Access. Is that the same as Sacramento Steps Forward?
Correct, yeah, that's the Steps Forward
We
referrals.
had Sacramento Steps Forward, and then you had on your slide Consolidated Access.
Coordinated Access, that's the name of the program.
Coordinated, yes, coordinated. Sorry, I didn't read my own writing. My second question is, besides having maybe a TV room, what else do these people do all day? Do they have amenities? I know there's no tennis court, but, maybe there's, what else is in there besides rooms?
The grounds are very nice. If you go in the back, as Director Kempenaar has up on this slide, you can see those trees back there. It's actually a pretty spacious site. There's a number of atriums. There's some really quality outdoor space, and these all have their own individual units. They're individual living units. So,
do they have gardening? What are you going to keep these people busy doing when they're home, when they're there?
well, I'd say that they would probably live very much like many of us do. Some are into gardening, some are into watching TV, some are into reading books, but they all have their own independent living units, and there's certainly good outdoor space.
All right.
Casey?
Hold on a minute, Tim. I'm sorry. Were you done? Jane, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to commend Casey for the much improved staff report. I really appreciate it. It's very helpful.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Councilmember Lopez-Tapp.
Casey, thank you so much for answering all of our specific questions from last time. I also want to thank the police chief for answering my questions on this particular, calls for service and things like that, because it is a concern to our community. I fielded several phone calls from my own community asking about calls for service and increased service needs for that particular community. So thank you so much for your thorough investigation and reporting back to us. I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a winner. You know, the area has a bit of an issue right now with some of the stuff that goes on there. It has a negative impact on some of the businesses in that area, especially over at Pastors and stuff like that. And this is going to give us a chance to address that. And the main thing that I see about this is that while a greater amount of money is being spent, our contribution to create 88 housing units, which could house well over 100 people, is going to come out to a little more than $5,500 per unit. Wow, try finding that deal anywhere. And so, as electeds, we can't get out there and run on, I'm going to do something about homelessness, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and then have an opportunity to do something and not support that opportunity, and especially again when it comes to the ability for us to do this at such a limited amount of money directly from our general fund or our funds, whatever. And I really just absolutely love that the 20-plus people that live there now will get to stay. That's critical, I think. That's wonderful.
We didn't know that before.
And that's big. That's big league right there. And so I can't imagine, there's nothing sadder to me than to see somebody older, my age, 55 and over, homeless, out walking around, no life, no existence, no shelter, and especially if they have some issues that they need help with. And so this gives us that opportunity to help those people. And so I almost used a bad word there, but you can't complain and moan about seeing them on the streets if you're not going to be willing to do something to house them too. And so with that, any other questions or comments for staff or Ash? I'll entertain a motion if somebody wants to bring them.
Mayor Daniels,
I'm sorry, Amy.
I do have a public comment.
I'm shocked. I tell you, I'm shocked. Go ahead.
I have a comment from Rick Hodgkins. He states, "Happy to see it is back for continued discussion and for a possible vote. If I remember this correctly, based on my own interpretations, even though this is an apartment community for people with mental illness, this is for senior citizens 55 and older. And in other words, nobody younger than 55 can live there. I cannot comment on that, whether there are grandchildren living with them or not. All I can say is that if I remember what was being interpreted by Hope Cooperative, TLCS, is that this particular apartment community is catered to, geared towards, and designed for seniors 55 and older who have a mental illness. I highly doubt that you will find people at that age causing any trouble. I know it was the old 70s tune goes, bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch. Let's just make sure that we keep it that way and only advertise it to that age group, that age population." And that concludes his comments.
Thank you, Amy. Go ahead, Councilmember Schaefer.
And then I can make a movement, or make a
movement?
Go ahead and move, Tim. Is that a motion?
I move this council adopt Resolution 2024, a resolution for the City Council of Citrus Heights, California, authorizing city manager to execute a grant recipient agreement between the City of Citrus Heights and TLCS Incorporated, DBA Hope Cooperative, for the Auburn Oaks project.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Schaefer and seconded by Vice Mayor Karpinski Costa. Any questions or comments to the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar, item number 11. The subject is ordinance of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights, amending Citrus Heights Code, Chapter 50, nuisances, Article 3, camping, Sections 50 to 500 to 5508. The recommendation is to introduce for a first reading, read by title only, and waive the reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 50, Article 3 of the Citrus Heights Municipal Code relating to camping.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Vice Mayor, distinguished members of council. I'm Lieutenant Wesley Herman with the Citrus Heights Police Department, Special Services Division. Tonight, I'm presenting a proposal to amend the Citrus Heights Municipal Code, Chapter 50, specifically sections related to the camping ordinance. First, we have expanded the definition to better reflect some of the challenges that our team has experienced. Notably, the term camping facilities, which will now include vehicles such as RVs and motorhomes. This change will allow us to address the trend of vehicle-based encampments, which often pose a safety and a public health risk in our community. Additionally, we will be enforcing this both on public property as well as private property. On private property, the camping will be limited to 72 hours with written consent from the owner, a maximum of 3 times per year. Again, this aims to protect the private property owner's rights while also ensuring the community's safety and well-being. In addition, the purpose and the background, we're focused on ensuring our enforcement actions are consistent with recent legal decisions, including the Grants Pass versus Johnson case, which went through the Supreme Court. This ensures that while we address public safety concerns, we are also respecting the constitutional rights of individuals, particularly within the unhoused community. So in short, these amendments are necessary to align with the recent legal changes. They address the rise in unauthorized camping, and overall, they enhance the community's overall safety and quality of life. More importantly, these actions align directly with the City Council's strategic goal to preserve and enhance public safety, and it's expected to reduce the burden on our city's General Services Department by minimizing the amount of debris that is left behind from unlawful campers. Finally, I just want to note that there is no expected negative fiscal impact, but we do expect a potential savings by reducing the need for additional city cleanup.
Okay, any questions, comments for staff? Go ahead.
Question, so someone's parked, what do you do? You gonna say move your car?
Yeah, so
And
currently.
where do they go?
Currently, there's a distinction, I wouldn't say it's a loophole, but it's been unaddressed, where if someone is in a vehicle on private property, there really is no way for us to address that or enforce that.
When you say private property, so they go like the parking lot at Walmart, or what, is that what it's like? So, okay, so they could go over to Costco in 72 hours? Is that, so they could move around, right?
I suppose that would be, yes, that would be a workaround. The goal, obviously, as you know, we have community health workers, and we're trying to address with services the best we
What
can.
if they're not messing the area around? What if they're just actually sleeping in their car because they don't have anywhere else to live?
Yeah, the challenge we have found is that oftentimes there are negative byproducts that come from people doing that. It includes the unlawful use of electrical facilities nearby. It includes the unlawful disposal of wastewater, which can oftentimes end up in our storm drains and our creeks. And it also leaves behind a significant amount of trash at times. So those are just unintended consequences that come as a result of not having properly hooked up and permitted camping facilities.
Any other questions, comments? Anything, Tim? All right.
Well, I just want some clarification, if I could ask some clarifying questions. So let's say that my neighbor has an RV that he parks in his driveway. And he has holding tanks, he has proper facilities to house someone there for a week. That's family members from out of town. I don't know if that's a legal thing, but is this something that my neighbor can complain and say, hey, that guy over there, they had somebody sleeping in that trailer for a week? Is that something you guys would get involved in, or is that would this ordinance apply to that?
There are some distinctions between storage versus camping.
Okay.
The situation you've explained would still probably qualify under camping if somebody is staying in that trailer in the driveway. The way you described it, it would probably be difficult to hook up to city services for wastewater disposal and things like that in a driveway. It is possible, but that's not very common. And so, in essence, if you had your owner's consent and you had written owner's consent, you would be lawful there for 72 hours, and you can do that up to 3 times per year.
Okay.
So without consent, there's no 72 hours, there's no nothing, right? Just, you're out of here.
Without written consent, you would be at least have an interaction with the police officers, and we'd be looking at initially, obviously, educating folks, and then if there's a refusal for compliance, then we would take the next step, which
Well,
would be an
here's my
enforcement.
problem. Here's my problem. There's no exception for, honest to God, somebody who needs to just sleep somewhere, who isn't messing up, who isn't part of a caravan of homeless people that are, using needles and defecating on the streets. So this is like even at American River College, students are allowed to sleep in their cars in the parking lot of the school. And there's many students who do. And if anybody knows my car, Chuck, I have a 1980 Dodge Challenger that I lived in for 2 years. If I had been thrown out every 72 hours, I wouldn't be here. I would not have been here. So I think there are valid people using their vehicle, the last thing in the world they own and paid for, and don't have to kind of afford rent until they get settled or maybe even have a job. I had a job. So it's like, they finally can get their get it together. But I wish there was an exception for an individual basis exception, maybe as a rule, I can understand what you're trying to go after, the look of a bunch of people living in their campers. I can understand that, but my contractor who built my house lives in his camper shell behind Food Max, lives in his little camper. Bless his heart that he has a place to put it. And so I'd like to see an exception that you, as police, can use your compassion, your understanding of this person's circumstances and allow it. I just don't see you throwing this guy out of his own vehicle. And I mean, this breaks my heart to see you try to throw people out of the only thing they find safe, maybe is their vehicle.
Here comes the muscle, right here.
Here comes the muscle.
No, I just want to clarify. Obviously, this is in front of council for discussion. I will just say, nothing about this ordinance requires action. Officers have discretion.
Okay.
Our main goal here is to try to get people to services. I will also say, while the ordinance as written right now would allow enforcement action there, we try to work with the community. Many of the ordinances that we've passed related to enhancing public safety or beautification have been in that lane. The other thing I'll say is there's always an exception, but usually the folks that you're describing, we don't get a lot of complaints for that. We do, however, get a lot of complaints for massive RVs that take up residence in people's private property, where there's very little we can do unless they want to take action themselves. So this does allow a tool, but just to be clear, administrative violations, municipal code violations, there is no mandate that an officer must take action on it. They always have discretion.
And you provide an opportunity to direct them to services, if maybe a shelter in the cold.
Yeah, even if we didn't care, and we do, but even if we didn't have
I used to
that-
have police come and take care of me. I mean,
Even if we didn't have
Lisa,
the
I know
heart-
you're sleeping here,
We have-
so
we
we'll
have
stop by, make
wonderful-
sure you're okay.
We have wonderful men and women that are working for us, but even if we didn't care, just from a pragmatic purpose, it is much, much better to get people into services and off the street for their own safety, for the public safety and the like. So that's been the number one goal. We'll continue to have that goal. Again, the ordinance as designed, if there's an amendment that needs to be made, that's something we can look at. But I just wanted to be clear, that does not take away discretion, it doesn't take away our core values, and it does not take away from our responsive customer service.
Okay, it just gives you an opportunity when it's bad.
Yep.
Okay, all right, I'm happy with that answer. Thank you, Chief.
Just clarification, initially I thought you said 72 hours a year, but I thought I just heard you say 72 hours 3 times a year.
That's correct.
So somebody who, in Tim's case, wanted to RV out in front of the house, they could do that 3 times a year for up to 72 hours at a time.
That's correct.
Okay, and then also, moving towards Jana's comments, if we wanted to craft the ordinance for now and have it exempt passenger vehicles, we could do that and see how that goes if we wanted to do that. And we can always come back and amend the ordinance if we wanted to, if we saw that that's not successful, that our effort needs to extend to passenger vehicles if we wanted to, correct?
We could do it at your pleasure, sir, yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I can add one thing too. One of the things that this ordinances doing is we did look at a lot of ordinances from neighboring jurisdictions and seeing what their ordinance say. We were silent on this vehicular piece. A lot of our neighboring jurisdictions aren't. And they're, with this grants pass ruling, some of the concerns that we have is to make sure that we have some parity relative to our ability to enforce. So we don't have a situation where water's following the path of least resistance. As Chief mentioned, there is discretion that our officers have, even if the vehicular exception we're talking about. But if we don't have it in there, then we don't have the enforcement mechanism, but our neighboring jurisdictions will. And so that's one of the concerns from a staff perspective that we have. If we don't have it on the books, then we don't have the ability to enforce, when situations warrant it.
Okay, I have one speaker sheet. Anybody comments, questions? I'm going to go ahead and call up Alfred Sanchez. My good friend, Alfred Sanchez.
And I'm sorry, Alfred, that Monday with the mayor, I just didn't have time to talk to you. We had lined up, people lined up, it was good.
I really enjoyed Monday with the mayor. Is anybody going to continue that?
Oh, yeah, we're going to keep it going.
Okay, good.
Brett left us a legacy.
My name is Alfred Sanchez. I've lived in the city of Citrus Heights since it became a city. In fact, when I moved in, I was closing escrow and I couldn't vote on it. But I've been involved with the city of Citrus Heights and the county. And when I moved here, I was so excited that we're going to be a city together. And with that, we've always been able to make our own decisions on how we're going to do things. And of course, I'm an advocate for the homeless people out here. And I would like to start by thanking the chief for having an open dialogue with me, as well as Ash, as well as other members of the police department, and you guys. And I appreciate that open dialogue. And but sometimes when I get frustrated, I'll ask the same question again. And I always we've gone through that. And then I have to say, well, if we've gone through that, why is it coming up again? Why is it coming up in a different form? And so it's very confusing for me, being a liaison between homeless and the city and the police. Can you imagine what it's like to be on the streets? It's even more confusing. So anyways, what I'm asking today is any decisions that you make regarding homelessness be clear. Like for example, the anti-camping ordinance thing, right? Okay, when I met with what's his name, Assemblyman, Assemblyman?
Josh Hoover.
Yeah, Josh Hoover. When I met him at the state capitol, I was actually opposing his bill, but I met him. But he was doing an anti-camping thing, and I looked at him and I said, and I looked at the members of Assembly and I said, please don't make any decisions when it comes to anti-camping until you define what camping is. Because I'm sorry, but it seems to be this is camping. And it's just sad to think that you can just do anything and call it camping. So according to Mr. Josh Hoover, he said it was being in one location for 3 days at a time. So you have Assemblyman Josh Hoover, who represents our district, saying one thing, and you have other people saying other things. So it gets very confusing, and I like the idea of people being able to sleep in their cars. Am I running out of time yet? The reason being is because it's I'm trying to word this carefully, but they showed me the most. If somebody can pay their registration, insurance, driver's license, maintain their vehicle, typically that's the person that has lost everything. They're just at that point, and they don't need to be said, hey, you can't sleep on this street. Hey, you can't, you know what I mean? That's the guys that we really, really got to fight for, because they're the ones that can get out. They're the ones that are really trying. I mean, if you don't register your car, you probably just bought some used car. If you don't license it, you probably don't care. But, let's try and help those people out, because they seem to be the ones that are helping themselves the most. And just, I can go on for like 3 days, so I'll just stop here. I forgot to say, thank you for letting me speak. And good seeing y'all. And I'm going to try and steal the cookies out there so I can give them to my homeless guys tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amy, any other speakers? When I remember, then there aren't any. Okay, any other comments or questions from council? Anything?
No, I'm glad the chief's response was made me happier.
I like the response. I personally think that, to Alfred's point, I think that we have to be very careful, because, even though there's discretion, the discretion lies with that officer. And I think that there are a lot of people, probably a whole lot more people than we know and think, that are living in their cars, and that's because that's the last thing they have. And they're even working. I hear stories constantly about people that are still working, yeah. They're still working, but they just don't
Tuition
have the
was
bucks
high.
for a place. And so I would much prefer to have us carve out passenger vehicles for now and focus on the ones that I think that are causing a bigger problem, and that is the recreational vehicles, the vehicles that have been converted into camping vehicles, and go that direction. But I'll entertain a motion if anybody wants to make one.
Can we, I'd support your suggestion that we modify this to eliminate passenger vehicles.
Okay,
And
is that a
really
motion?
restrict it to, yes. Sure. I'll make a motion.
Anybody need clarification on the motion?
Well,
I think,
should be passenger
Mayor,
vehicles that are
just 'cause we're on
currently
the
licensed.
first-
Hold on.
Yeah, I hear the action, and we can still, the council can still adopt a first reading tonight, as long as we're really clear on how we're making the amendment. So I think in the section, there's definition section in 501 defines vehicle. So what we'll do as staff is hear what you're saying and modify the vehicle to carve out an exception for passenger vehicles.
That are
correct?
licensed and registered.
That are licensed and registered
And insured.
and insured.
Which we already have ordinances and laws for already.
So we won't come back with another first reading in 2 weeks. We would come back with a second reading with this amendment, provided it's passed.
And I would add that we watch that, and if it happens to be that that's not getting the result that we're hoping for, we bring it back. We bring it back, and we include passenger vehicles, especially if we see any kind of caravan occurring, because other entities might be including passenger vehicles. So hopefully there wouldn't be any hesitation to bring it back. So that, we have a motion, I believe.
Yes, I'll make the motion, move to introduce a first reading by title only and waive full reading of ordinance 2024, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Citrus Heights amending Chapter 50, Article 3 of the Citrus Heights Municipal Code related to camping.
With the carve-out.
With the carve-out
Okay.
for passenger vehicles.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Schaefer and seconded by Vice Mayor Karpinski Costa. Any questions or comments regarding the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion.
Nay.
Oh. You gotta go a little faster now. So, motion passes 3-1. Next item, please.
Next item is department reports. Number 12, the subject is Neighborhood Cleanup Program Update by the General Services Department.
Can I have this? It's Mary Poole.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mary Poole here before you tonight. This department update is a follow-up to the March 28th City Council Strategic Plan, which included direction to staff to come back with recommendations to modify the neighborhood cleanup program to address blight and associated issues with the program. And I just wanted to mention that Colin Wallace from Republic Services is here in the audience right here, the general manager for Republic Services, and he's willing to work with us on whatever direction that the council decides to go. So tonight, I'm just going to do a brief presentation with the history of the Neighborhood Cleanup Program, what we're doing today, the challenges that we've been facing, what the community has shared with us, what our recommended modifications are, and the proposed next steps. So some of you may remember the Neighborhood Cleanup Program was originally established in January of 2006 as an on-call program, appointment-based, dial before you pile program. Just about 6 months later, it had a number of issues, and about 6 months later, it was converted to a 3 times per year service, the service that you see today, which is a set schedule provided on a street-by-street basis 3 times per year and scheduled by zone. At that time, updated program guidelines were established by resolution, which said that residents would place items out 48 hours in advance, but the penalties that were originally proposed to be associated with early set-outs were removed in order to allow customers to put materials out over a weekend so that they had enough time to get their stuff together. So in the current program, the customers receive a door hanger, and there's some door hangers up on the dais so you can see the reference point. They receive that door hanger 7 days in advance of a scheduled pickup date. The notice directs that materials are to be set out no more than 48 hours in advance of the scheduled collection date, but the customers can set the materials out as soon as they get the door hanger. So any piles that are set out before the door hanger or after the collection date are considered illegal dumping. And most participants in the program know they can start setting out materials as soon as they get the door hanger. There are a number of challenges associated with this that have evolved over the years that have contributed to general blight, sometimes associated with the program. And those challenges include just conflicts with construction that could be city construction or private construction, but having materials out on the road for 7 days at a time contributes to problems when we're trying to get projects done. Illegal dumping is rampant throughout the city. And certainly one could relate it to some of the issues with having materials out for 7 days at a time for our neighborhood cleanup program. Holidays and gatherings, we do not schedule neighborhood cleanup on a holiday. But again, because the materials can be out for 7 days, you might have streets on a holiday or trying to have a gathering when we have a bunch of neighborhood cleanup piles out there. Scavenging, it's a pro and a con. It absolutely can help recycle materials and people get good stuff out. And in fact, residents actually plan to put their materials out so that it'll get scavenged and go to a better use. At the same time, scavengers can be messy. They are out on the streets 24 hours a day. They're driving through your neighborhoods. There's other illicit activities that can happen associated with scavenging, and so it's definitely a pro and a con. Street sweeping is also challenging. We schedule street sweeping around the garbage days, but it's more difficult to keep our street sweepers on a schedule when we have materials that are out there. It also is less efficient when they've got to go around piles. And then there's weather impacts. When the material's out for 7 days at a time, it's harder to deal with weather because things will start getting blown around and otherwise into our right-of-way. So the next few slides are just some pictures of some of the experiences that we have with neighborhood cleanup. Here on the left, we just have an oversized pile. Someone's getting a twofer on this one. On the right, you see this is really a big issue on our arterials where we have piles out. This one, someone set it out early. It's in the bike lane. It is a magnet for other people to dump more material on, and you can see the tractor at the bottom right-hand corner is picking it up. And thank you, Republic, for being so responsive when we have these issues. Here's another example of illegal dumping. Both of these piles started out as a small pile, but then attracted, as they sit there for a couple of days, they just attract more and more material. Here we have the twofer again. Another customer who is acting like they maybe are two residents, or maybe they
Before
hope
the
that some
shopping
of,
cart ordinance, look at those shopping carts.
some of the material will be scavenged and that no one will notice. And then over on the right, Councilmember Karpinski-Castells, knows we also have shopping carts that make their way into, they didn't pick up anything, they just left them there. Maybe they were
Well,
bringing,
you had to get
bringing
the stuff
stuff
to the pile somehow, so throw it in there.
Other challenges here on the upper left, we have, this is most likely the result of a scavenger where someone put boxes of material out and the scavengers wanted to know what's in those boxes. So you see this type of debris happen often in that type of situation. On the lower picture, the neighborhood cleanup program does not accept tree trunks or stumps, and so this household is definitely not complying with the acceptable materials requirements. And then again, another illegal dump on the right. And this one is really sad to me because this is on San Juan, and our brand new route supervisor is out there picking up piles on San Juan and finds a landscaper dumping on an existing pile. So he took a picture of this, and we were able to work with code enforcement to figure out who the landscaper was and do a call and talk. I guess you warn them, and I hope they haven't been dumping in the city. But it's definitely a problem. We're getting, folks taking advantage of our neighborhood cleanup piles and dumping on them. This is just an image of where we have received illegal dumping complaints in July and how it aligns with where our neighborhood cleanup programs are. So in this area right here is July. You can see we have a lot of these illegal dump complaints that are right there along the boundaries of our neighborhood cleanup. And then also you can kind of see how it could be construed that maybe we have some neighbors outside of Citrus Heights who are dropping off piles along our borders. Same thing over here, Roseville Road. But we do tend to have an increase in illegal dumping around our neighborhood cleanup times. And this doesn't include anyone who's dumping within the borders of a neighborhood cleanup zone, because a lot of times that just gets absorbed into what's going on in the neighborhood. We might not even know it's an illegal dump, and it's going to get picked up. So we met with the Quality of Life Committee on August 15th and discussed the concerns about the ongoing blight-related issues and what the options were that we could look at. And we talked about shifting to an on-call appointment-based program like is done in other jurisdictions in Sacramento County. But no matter what, the collective wisdom was to reduce the amount of time that the material was out for collection. So the 2x2 committee recommended doing a flash vote for additional community input. So Megan and her shop did a flash vote, and we found out that the community loves the neighborhood cleanup program. 90% of the respondents use the service. The majority of them think the scavenging is a recycling benefit, although there certainly were concerns about it. Most of the community finds out about the neighborhood cleanup program from the door hanger. And like I said, the vast majority love the program, and there were many, many comments like, don't stop the program. It was very clear that this is a, much-loved program. But there were also recommendations for improvement that aligned with what the 2x2 committee was saying. Enforce the 48-hour set-out requirement. This was the most common written-in comment that was provided through the flash vote. And encourage neighbors to report early piles using See-Click Fix or other types of options. So all of that comes to the recommendations that we have before you tonight, which would be, in order to address the blight issue, a progressive process. So the first thing to do would be to enforce the existing program guidelines. Make the set out so that is no more than 48 hours, be a hard and fast requirement. Include penalties for early set out, which would be added to your Republic Services bill. And amend the agreement with Republic Services to include issuance of those penalties, include extensive outreach and education. This also came up at the 2x2 committee, but to hold the customers accountable to the program guidelines. And also to include some options for the contract manager, for staff, to look at customized requirements in certain areas, such as arterials, but also in HOAs, gated communities, and mobile home communities, which we already do that. So we work with the different communities, but this would just affirm that, that process. This is just a couple snips of the neighborhood cleanup door tag. It's really long. I'll show it. This is it. It's front and back. Has all the information that one needs to have a successful neighborhood cleanup activity. But it says that it calls your attention twice not to put the materials out before 48 hours or 2 days. So we would definitely want to add a little bit of language to the door tag to make sure that it's clear that there would also be penalties for those who violate that. So the next step with your approval would be to bring back a resolution updating the guidelines for the city council to consider, which would remove that waiver of enforcement for early set out, and it would affirm the staff authority to customize services in certain areas. And then also to bring back an amendment with Republic Services to include that penalty and enforcement process. And then the city would actually be doing the education and outreach. In addition, if there needs to be further refinement, we can include those considerations in the procurement process that's coming up for our residential services. And that's the conclusion of my presentation.
Any questions or comments for Mary?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
So is there like a recommended fine that would be associated with this, or is it, have you given that any thought as far as how much the fine would be for setting out 48 hours ahead of time?
We would bring that back, but the thought is to include this as a no-cost amendment to the Republic Services Agreement. So we would be negotiating that actual dollar amount with Republic Services to see what would it cost for them to do the enforcement of any violations.
Okay.
You done?
Done.
What do you do about people from outside the city who aren't customers of Republic through Citrus Heights and they're driving down Sunrise, and I've seen people drive down Sunrise and dump along Sunrise, or Natalie had someone, and he took a video of it dumping right in front of her house. So
Well, like the one that Josh Slatus, our route supervisor, took a picture of, we were able to work with code enforcement to identify the culprit and make contact with them. But definitely it's challenging.
But you're going to come and you're going to send me a bill because somebody came down my road and dumped something in front of my house?
Well, it would be for early set out. So illegal dumping, if someone illegally dumped in front of your property, that's a different story.
Oh, that's different?
Yeah, we would not penalize folks for
Okay,
illegal dumping.
So you're going to just put penalties for early setouts,
Correct.
not for oversized?
Well, those already exist. We already have penalties for oversized piles. The Republic Services already has a whole process to notify you if you set out too much material, and allows you to take it back or pay the amount, which is, I think it was $109.
I saw that, yeah.
Which some people may feel that's a fair amount for them to get rid of all that material.
A trip to the dump, I think, is,
Right, so it just depends on that, but Republic works directly with the resident on those items.
okay, so that's still, when you have electronics like a computer or something, you still set that aside? Mm-hmm. And so those rules are still the same?
Correct, nothing else would change, it would just be, we'd bring back an amendment with the specific.
And I told you about my great idea about
You did.
Dolly on Demand, if somebody needs help with an item. Okay, so if we could include, Colin said he wouldn't mind putting that on the door handle, but we don't know who to call. Call Mary.
As that program is developed, we can absolutely advertise and get that outreach out.
Okay.
So I'll make some comments regarding it. I support a change to it. I think that the current system allows for too many negatives to overcome the advantages of doing it. Some of them are parking in the community where I live when it's time to put the garbage out, and especially if it's garbage day, also regular garbage day. There's like no place to park after, literally, you can't park your car anywhere. And so it creates a real problem, and that's not a one-day thing because they can put it out up to 7 days in advance. And so it really creates a problem in communities that have housing that's a little tighter is the way I'll put it. The scavengers, they're like a caravan, and they just keep following the piles from this neighborhood to that, because it just goes in a logical order. It doesn't do the west side of Citrus Heights and then, let's catch the east side next, and then let's go over to the north side. No, they don't do that. They just follow a pattern. And if we go forward, maybe that is one thing they can do. It's just sort of, they don't have to follow a pattern like that. They can just go anywhere on a given day. But when you have those scavengers out also at 3 a.m. going through your stuff, you're also giving them this great opportunity to have a reason to be in your neighborhood at 3 a.m. And some of them aren't maybe the best people in the world sometimes that are out scavenging at 3 a.m. And all you're doing is giving them an opportunity to check the doors on your cars, check anything else that maybe you left on your porch that maybe they liked also instead of just your garbage. And so it gives them that opportunity to be out there. And then the final thing is that it amazes me when, you'll see people put something out about this big in front of their house because, dang it, they get this service and they're going to take advantage of it. And here comes the truck and it has to start and stop, start and stop, start and stop because they're picking up all these little things. And that's when vehicles emit the most emissions and are worse for the air. And so, when we talk about the positive sides of having the current setup, I don't know how that overcomes those negatives necessarily. So when you talk about the flash vote that occurred, I don't know that the folks that really participated in the flash vote maybe could think about or actually could consider some of these negatives that could come along too with the process. And they're just looking at it more from a standpoint of, man, I don't want to lose that service. Let's not mess with that. I like to be able to put my box of Kleenex out in front of the driveway so somebody gets to pick it up. So I'd like to see us go to a system of on-call. I think it would work fine. The other thing is, I get this notice, and every single time I get this notice, I got something else going on in my life that really doesn't coincide with the fact that I want to go and, clean up the backyard and throw some things away out of the garage. And so I hate it. I hate it. I wish I could just put my stuff out.
Will you get to Kentucky? You can change the rules.
I can't wait. And so I think it would be beneficial to the community from a quality of life standpoint if you could just call up and say, hey, I'm going to put my stuff out, and can you come and get it tomorrow? And they're there. Oh, now you want to talk, yeah? Go ahead, Councilmember.
I know we have different options available to us, whether it's keeping the program as it is, modifying and tightening our requirements, all the way to removing this as an option and going to straight on-call. Is there a way we can simply, for our community's benefit, can we say there is a phasing out of the general cleanup toward on-call so that we can warn our public over time, maybe it's a year. I have no idea what would be reasonable, but I definitely understand the concerns and questions. Or do we have other reinforcement for people, who should not be on the road with their big trucks chugging along at 3 o'clock in the morning? Can we do some citations for individuals who clearly are scavenging, not to be able to do that? Because once that gets out there that you can't do it and you're going to get cited, it's going to stop.
One option would be to do, maybe move in progressive steps and help the community get used to change and go to the 48 hours and get them used to the 48 hours and then move to the 24 hours. So there would only be 24 hours for them to set out materials. And the contract with Republic Services, the term ends in 3 years. So we have 3 years to go where we could really look at different nuances of this program and include potentially an on-call in the next procurement process. So that would be one way. Certainly, a different progression at your pleasure we could also look at.
Yeah, I would definitely support a progression like that.
I got a question. So if you had on-call, which we've had and it didn't work, and everybody complained and we went back to this, how do you do street sweeping? So do you just on-call your street sweeper too? So, because they do leave a mess when they pick up stuff, and so this house gets picked up today and this house is 2 weeks from now, and so this mess is this mess, and how do you do? how do
The
you just-
traditional on-call program that's operating in the jurisdictions around us actually has you can schedule the cleanup, but it will be on your garbage day or the day after. So it's still condensed within a short period of time. So you have garbage day and your bulky pile day. There really aren't that many piles on the street when you have the on-call at any one time. So the street sweeping can be much more efficient.
So same ways, so the scavenger who comes 3 times a year down my road, and I only got to put up with them 3 times a year, he'll be coming down every week to see if I put anything out on a garbage day.
In my exploration with the other jurisdictions, scavenging within the inner neighborhoods really isn't a problem. I didn't see any of them on our ride-along, just simply because there really aren't that many piles out on any one day. So it seems it probably wouldn't be that beneficial for them to drive around looking for the one pile on every 6 streets or something like that. On some of the, like Folsom Boulevard or some of the areas where you already get illegal dumping, then some of that you still have scavenging.
So, I'll make a quick comment. So, I lived in my current home for 17 years, and I kind of figured out that my pickup months are going to be March, July, November. So, when it gets to be close to the end of March, I know that, that's coming. And then same thing with July, same thing with November. What I would be concerned about is that you have somebody, if it's an on-call thing, somebody calls in March, and then they decide, well, I'm going to take this thing apart, I'm going to have this stuff to dispose of. They're going to call in April, and they're going to call in May. Are we, I mean, if it is on call, can they call 3 times a year and do March, April, May? Because that just seems like a little bit of a, it's a little, to me, difficult to schedule. When you want to try to schedule things and schedule pickups, you don't know what, if at least this way, in March and April, or in March and July and November, this is what you're going to have. And if you just say on call.
With the appointment-based program, again, just looking at how it's operating in other jurisdictions where it seems to be working really well, the customer calls and gets their appointment scheduled within 7 days. So they certainly could schedule it out. If they wanted to go ahead and schedule, like, I want to keep my March, November, and July, then they could schedule it for the day they give them during those months. So they could keep their routine. Either way, but the way that it's intended to operate is if you need a cleanup, then you can call it, and within a week you will have it.
What if we switched to 2 regularly scheduled and 1 on-call? So, and see how many people utilize the on-call third opportunity.
We could certainly look at doing that. I would still recommend reducing the time allowed for the set out
Yes,
to the
I
48
like
hours. I think that is a critical.
I like to put in instituting fines for putting out more than 48 hours ahead of time.
And make it big letters so they see it. Big, bold letters.
That's my direction.
Okay, looks like it's clear as.
Is there
clear
a
as the day.
consensus on direction?
Yep. Thanks, Mary. Anything else for Mary?
No, great
Okay,
job, Mary.
thank
Thank
you.
you. You have a lot of fans in town,
And Mary, keep in mind that Citrus Heights is not like Rancho Cordova. We're different.
So
Go ahead. Next item, please.
Next item is city manager items.
All right, well, good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Ash Finney, your city manager, just have a few updates here, but first I just want to acknowledge the great staff work that's occurred here tonight across the board, and also want to thank Mayor and council for all the supportive comments. Really appreciate that. I know that means a lot to our team. One of the things, I'm getting a little tongue twisted there. Must be since it's the mayor's last night. But I've got a thing of celebration here, an item of celebration. Sayonara Housing Entitlement approved. This was just at the Planning Commission, and Ali Bermudez is here in the audience and has really shepherded this project from, the beginning until a new beginning, if you will. The Planning Commission unanimously approved 26 new single-family homes on Sayonara Drive, which will provide ownership opportunities. We've got a timeline over on the right, looking to start infrastructure in October 2024. Building permit application started 2025, and some fantastic construction opportunities where the owners of those homes will be doing some sweat equity as part of the project, and there's some great volunteer opportunities for the community too to participate in that, and that's slated to start in spring of next year. The city's been a partner of Habitat on this, and one of the things that we will be having come back to the city council on consent is the regulatory agreement that really just kind of memorializes the affordability provision. So you'll see that coming in the future, but definitely something to celebrate there. And speaking of celebrations, there's a lot of activities that are continuing to happen here in Citrus Heights. We have the football game tomorrow night. It's community night. Travis Miller, the athletic director, invited the council and the entire community to come out and enjoy a football game. So that's tomorrow night, starting at 5 o'clock. I think that's JV start, and I think varsity's around 7. But please check Mesa Verde on that. And then on Thursday, September 5th, City of Citrus Heights is a sponsor of the 15th Annual Multicultural Business and Career Expo that's occurring. They have moved it back to Citrus Heights. It had moved downtown for a period, and now it's back in Citrus Heights. So we're excited to see that happen, 10 to 4 next Thursday. And then the American Legion's Battle of the Bands with a great barbecue there as well. Had some members of the 637 Post turn out at the last meeting to talk about that. It's a historic Rush House on September 14th. And then concluding the month with Sunday Fun Day. That'll be on Sunday, September 22nd at Rush Park, starting at 11.
You left something out. Josh Hoover's having his community meeting here in this room on September 9th at 6 to 7 p.m., and I believe Senator Nilo will be there too.
Okay. Well, we have a community meeting that Vice Mayor just spoke to as well.
September 9, 6 to 7 p.m.
Great. And I think I've got the only last one is Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd. City Hall will be closed in observance of Labor Day, but will be reopened Tuesday, and hope everyone has a fantastic Labor Day weekend.
Anything for the city manager?
And the 33rd Annual Polish Festival.
Yes.
Can't leave out the Polish Festival. Saturday, September 7 in Roseville, 12 noon to 5 p.m. Polish food, Polish dancing, Polish fun.
Woo-hoo. Next item, please.
Next item is items requested by council members or any future agenda items.
Anything? Go ahead, Tim.
I do have an item I would like to talk about, potentially doing some kind of ballistic rating on the Diaz here. I'd like the support of just simply examining the possibility and potentially the cost of doing such thing. Not that I'm worried about any particular issue at the moment. I just think that we should probably be prudent and examine that issue.
I'll second that. Anything else? I just have 3 or 4 items I wanted to bring up. Future items, yes. Nope, that's it. Yeah, next item, please.
And there are no further items.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting in honor of all the wonderful staff that we have in Citrus Heights that make this city the most incredible city around. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you have done for our city and what you will do in the future. Thank you.